All right, San Diego and Southern California, what is going on? A crazy start to the week, and we're going to have a good show lined up for you here today. Bryce Miller, columnist for the UT, will join us coming up at 3:30. He has written what we've been talking about, which is the Padres have become one of the more feared teams with the postseason around the corner. Bryce Miller, UT, will join us at 3:30. Chris Hodge, taking Vegas, normally joins us on Thursdays. He went 2-0 this past week, by the way, this weekend. Had the Tennessee College game, hit the under with Chargers Steelers. He'll join us coming up at 4:15 with not one but two Monday Night Football games to get ready for. But let's start with the Padres, who are on the verge of reaching the postseason. I don't want to talk about your laptop. We'll get to it. But the Padres are on the verge of reaching the postseason for the first time since 2022. They're about to begin, Jim. I think you could argue this being the most important regular season series since Giants series to conclude 2010. I think that's completely reasonable when they could have won their way in 2010 against the Giants. But this is a massive 3-game series against the Dodgers coming up because the Padres all of a sudden control their own destiny. The Dodgers losing a game this weekend to the Rockies, putting the Padres within 3 games with 6 to play, which means this. If they win every game, not easy, they're going to win the division. They might be the top seed in the National League if they win all 6 of these games. They know this. If they sweep the Dodgers this week, they're tied with LA, but they've got the tiebreaker. This series begins tomorrow night, and there's just so much intrigue heading into the final week of the regular season.
All we asked was get it to tomorrow night against the Dodgers, 3 games or less.
That's right.
3 games back or less. They are 3 games back of the Dodgers, which isn't the easiest task to pull off, but it's still like there for the taking, and you control your own destiny, and you could not ask for anything more. Truthfully, being in a position where you control your own destiny with 6 games remaining, that's the best situation you could possibly ask for, other than, being 3 games up in the National League West over the Dodgers, obviously.
But considering everything, I mentioned this last night in the wrap-up show. I've said it here on Jon and Jim as well. This franchise has not finished within 16 games of first place in a full season since 2010. 16 games. And then consider the off seasons. Dodgers spend $1 billion. They spent $1 billion while the Padres shed payroll. And here we are, the final week of the regular season. The Padres have thoroughly outplayed the Dodgers in the regular season. They're 7-3. The Padres have outplayed the Dodgers overall in the second half of the season. Now, a sweep's not going to be easy. I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is done. They're going to win this division. They're going to get a bye. No, obviously it's uphill. You're going to Dodger Stadium. You need to win. Likely need to win 3-3. I would say this. If you take 2 of 3, you're 2 games back with 3 to play. To me, that's unlikely. You'd have to sweep Arizona. You'd need the Dodgers to lose a series to the Rockies. So for my money, you got to sweep the Dodgers. Is that likely? Of course it's not likely. Maybe there's a 10 or 15% chance. But the way the Padres have played, Jim, and with their sights set still on the division, I'm not going to rule it out in terms of impossibility. We'll see what happens Tuesday night. You win Tuesday night, you live to see another day.
I think to win this division, 5-1 has to be the goal. Like at the minimum, you go 5-1. If you don't go 5-1, if you go 4-2, I don't think it's getting done.
But I would even say 5-1 with a sweep of the Dodgers, because I think if you win 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, that's one more win for them. So if you win 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, you're 2 games back.
Correct.
If you sweep Arizona, you now need the Dodgers to lose 2 out of 3 to the Rockies. Do you find that likely? I find it unlikely, not impossible.
Yeah, not impossible,
but unlikely. That's why I say 5-1 has to involve a sweep. Because if you sweep the Dodgers and take 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks, then you win the division if the Dodgers win 2 out of 3 against the Rockies, because you're still tied.
Right. And the magic number, it's very confusing. All I know is you win on Tuesday night, you will clinch a playoff spot.
That's correct.
That's the most simplest way I can explain this magic number. If not, then it would go with like the Diamondbacks would need to lose along with the Mets or the Braves, and then you got to just win on Tuesday night and you're in. And truthfully, if you don't win Tuesday night, just win on Wednesday and you're in. Like that.
Correct.
That to me is just the simplest magic number that you could think of. Is you win, you clinch, and then the bigger picture is You sweep, the final weekend's going to be crazy.
No, but you're right, because consider all these scenarios at play. Dodgers have a chance to wrap up the division this week at Dodger Stadium against the Padres. I think that's accurate if they take 2 of 3.
Take 2 of 3, yeah.
The Padres have a chance to clinch at Dodger Stadium a playoff spot just by winning a game.
Correct.
To your point, they could even do it without winning a game, depending on what goes on around Major League Baseball. And then there's that alternate scenario where you win all 3 games against the Dodgers, and all of a sudden you've got the head-to-head edge. Not only that, and again, this still remains, more unlikely than likely, but the Padres are only 3 games back of the best record in the league, and the team with the best record in the National League is the Dodgers.
You're going to get a scenario, potentially, actually not potentially, you will, I think, where there will be the top 3 teams in the National League, Phillies, probably the Dodgers, I think the Padres. One of those is going to be a wild card team, and the 2 other will most likely get a bye.
Well, one of them has to be a wild card team because there's no scenario where the Dodgers and the Padres can win the same division. You're right. So right. So one of those teams, that's a great point. I mean, can you imagine a world in which
and 96 games or 95 games and you're not in?
Or you win 95 games and the Dodgers are playing the wild card round.
That's what I mean. Like, the wild card. Yeah.
If you would have told me to start the year that 95 games would be good enough to win this division when they added Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and Teoscar Hernandez, and they're coming off a 100-win season.
Now, the Dodgers, if you think about it, if the Padres swept, then they still win 95 games?
Dodgers?
Oh, yeah, because
they already have 93.
Oh, they have 93.
They have the most wins in the National League. I mean, this thing is going to be so razor thin. It goes back to a Jeff Passan tweet, Jim, from a month ago that says the American League and the National League are completely wide open. Nobody's going to win 110 games. Bryce Miller, who's going to join us coming up at 3:30, says nobody wants to play the Padres. I completely agree with that. Listen, if you can have everything right now, and I've fought against the importance of a division for years. You've heard me say that right here. But if I could have my cake and eat it too, I don't want to play the wild card round. I don't want to play an additional round. I don't want to do it. I'll take the 6 days off. I'll set up my rotation. I'll be 2 series wins away from getting to a World Series. Again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But that's what's in front of the Padres right now. They've talked about it since day one. We want to win the division. And they weren't kidding when they said it. Because here they are going to LA, needing a win on Tuesday to really put pressure on the Dodgers this week in the final week of the regular season. It's incredible stuff.
Yeah, I think if you gave me a choice, like red pill, blue pill type of situation, you said, red pill is you win the National League West and you get the first round bye, but you have that week off. And we've seen what happens with teams that take a week off. Or the other pill is you remain hot and you have to play the 3 games at home here, but like you continue to play, you're hot, you roll through the wild card round, you get to the division series, but you have to play an extra series to do it. Like, what would you choose?
I mean, here's the thing. Well, you're right. We've seen teams get tripped up in this new format. It's only been 2 years.
I'm guaranteeing it. Like, you get through the wild card round into the divisional round, but you're playing good baseball.
You're guaranteeing it?
Or you win the division and you get home field throughout the National League playoffs and I guess the World Series, depending on how that works out, right?
I mean, I guess it's similar. The only difference being your rotation is set if you win the division as opposed to if you go through the wild card, because now you're not using some starters from that round in game 1 or 2.
Because one side is, you don't have any layoff, no rust, and you stay sharp, or the potential of rust and what we've seen, what happens with teams that get a week off.
We say that, but the's only been 2 years of data. Okay, there's been 2 years of the bye.
2.
No, the Houston Astros won the World Series in 2022. That a bye
in the National League.
But now we're getting down to like we're really mincing because the Houston Astros in the first year, we made a lot of the Dodgers the last 2 years have gotten the bye and lost in the postseason. But then again, look at the Dodgers' history since '88.
Right,
they lose the postseason anyway.
Yeah, they choke all the time.
But you're right, and only one team is going to win the World Series. But one of the teams to win the World Series got the bye. Now, last year, Texas didn't have a bye.
No, they played in the wild card.
They were the wild card.
Yeah.
And they ended up winning the World Series. They took on a team that also didn't have a bye in the Diamondbacks. And you're right, the Phillies in 2022 didn't have a bye. 3 of the 4 teams to reach the World Series in this new format did not have a bye.
Right.
I'm still telling you right now, I'll take it.
Take the bye and the guaranteed home field and not having to have anything crazy happen in a wild card round and you know, an opportunity to have home field throughout the playoffs. Like I know it's a situation where, like we just said, the numbers the last 2 years, 3 of the 4 teams that make the World Series all played on wild card weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like over time, like 10 years down the road, I think the data is going to prove that, you know, it's going to even out, right? I think so.
Yeah, it's hard for me to really say that getting a 6-day layoff is the reason why the teams are losing, where I would probably just argue that the reason they're losing is because of the matchup or they've been outplayed. It's not solely because of the layoff as to why they're losing.
Because in 2022, if you remember, the Dodgers took game 1 at Dodger Stadium.
That's right.
Now, Mike Clevenger had to pitch that game, and that was
that's
not
another
great.
Good point, because your game 4 starter. Now, this is a different rotation than 2022, where you feel as good about game 4 as maybe you do about game 1, because it would be Michael King.
Yeah, and then game 2 would be Dylan Cease.
I could argue it either way, but the reason I wouldn't want to play the wild card series is the same reason why you want to buy in all sports, because it's just a more favorite. It's an advantage. I can't be convinced otherwise that it's not an advantage. Yeah, the Padres have won a lot of series in the second half. What if they don't win that series? What if they go down 1-0 because they face Chris Sale? Making it up. It's a bad example. It probably won't be Atlanta, but like, you go down a game. What if Robert Suarez blows a save? What if there's an error? What if Dylan Cease doesn't pitch well, and all of a sudden your backs are against the wall in game 2 after your great second half? I don't want to deal with that if I don't have to deal with that.
Yeah, when you have an opportunity to get a guarantee in life, you take
it. Exactly.
And if the guarantee here is you don't have to play in a 3-game series, then you take it.
Why play? And you don't. Everyone talks about the importance of winning divisions, and you want to accomplish something in the regular season, and you want to beat the Dodgers over 162. They have a chance to do that right now. They never have a chance to do that. It's been forever.
And it will take a lot to accomplish that. And I know we're talking about what would you rather have? Most likely this will turn out to be next Tuesday here at Petco. Padres will be hosting either the Mets or the Diamondbacks, or maybe I don't think the Braves, but you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
That's the most likely scenario.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the Padres second half here in a bit, and just like how insane it has been. Because at one point they were 50-50 on the year. Now they're 90-66.
So 40-16 in their last 56 games, which is the best record in the sport. 40-16 in their last 56 games.
Freaking roll, man. They are a freight train.
No doubt. That's why Bryce Miller will join us at 3:30. He says nobody wants to play the Padres. Do you agree? Plus, we'll hear from Mike Farron. No, excuse me. We're going to hear from Mike Shildt on the other side. Mike Farron joins us tomorrow, by the way. MLB Network Radio. We'll hear from Mike Shildt on the other side after a series sweep of the White Sox. Plus, another crazy day in realignment. How does it impact San Diego State? What's next for the Aztecs? What's next for Gonzaga? And more. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, let's hear from Mike. This was yesterday. Padres sweeping the White Sox. We said, Jim, they had to sweep the White Sox. They did, in fact, do that. It was not an easy series.
No, White Sox actually showed up.
They did, and yesterday led in the 8th inning before Luis Arraez pinch hits and ties the game. Later, Fernando Tatis Jr. hits a home run. By the way, Tatis has hit 7 home runs since coming back. No, 6 in 17 games.
He has 20 home runs on the year.
Yeah, 6 in 17 games, a big number.
Some of my favorite things from this weekend, obviously besides the Padres winning, was the White Sox Twitter account. Did you see this?
Yeah, like what they said about like check the app for the final score, or like the other team scored more runs than us.
So 2 days ago, they said final, the number of runs scored, the number of runs we scored was not greater than the number of runs they scored. And then on Saturday night, final can be found on the MLB app. And then yesterday, it was a GIF of, like the car trying to go off the freeway, and there's like the freeway sign. It says like go this way or go this way, and the car's like trying. It says post final score thread this way or literally anything else that way, and then the car's like has an admin on top, and it's like veering to the right. It was hilarious.
Imagine doing social media for the Chicago White Sox this year with 120 losses?
I mean, they have 1 million followers on.
Yeah, I think they've gained a lot because all they do is lose, and those tweets have gone viral over the last.
Well, that's what you have to do if your team is the worst team in the history of the sport.
Like truly the worst team in the history of the sport. But here's a couple of minutes from Mike Shildt talking about the division, talking about the state of the Padres, talking about the closer spot as well. Here was Mike Shildt postgame after the sweep of the White Sox.
Mike, the come from behind victories have been a theme for this team all season long. Kind of appropriate that the last regular home season game ends on a late comeback win like this.
Yeah, that was fitting. Really grit squad showed up again. Competed the whole day. Down, fought back, down. Clearly fought back and was able to bring it home. Robert, good for him. Did a nice job. Really crisp.
As far as the team makeup, I mean, a lot of people talk about teams might be made for the regular season or postseason. It seems like your team is built for late and close. I mean, you've got the bullpen, you've got pieces off the bench, no matter what the lineup is, pinch runners. How fun has it been for you to have all those weapons to go to be able to push all the right buttons?
It's a complete roster. He deserves a lot of credit. But our players ultimately get the credit. They're the ones out there executing. But it's a very complete roster. We've been able to demonstrate how to win games a lot of different ways. We do play a lot of close games, and we've been able to execute and be on top of most of them.
Another nice outing for you, Darvish, today. What do you think, and how confident are you him going into the postseason? It seems like he continues to build up.
Yeah, he's been great. He wanted to go out and get a little bit of that seventh and continue to get built up a little bit. So we let him have on the righty, and he rewarded it. But thought he was fantastic again. A couple swings got him, but everything was good. Everything was in the zone. Spin was good. Ball was coming out good. He's fastball had some life to it. Also, congratulations. That's a heck of a milestone, man. 2,000 major league strikeouts, over 3,100, I think, for his combined professional career. That's really impressive. It's a big number, 2,000 for your career in Major League Baseball, and it's a rarefied air. So congratulations to you on that individual accomplishment.
I know you have been nothing but supportive of Robert and expressed your confidence, but how big do you think that might be for him that came in and did that today?
Yeah, I mean, really you take away, which we can't now know in this game, but you can't take away a couple, 3 swings, but this guy's been really, really good for us. And, the good news is we have other couple guys that, that are deep in our bullpen in the back end that are very helpful. But Robert went out there again, stuff was good, throwing it for, quality strikes, and just a really nice job for him today. I was really happy for him, pleased for him.
I'm trying to do the impossible because I know you're like one game at a time, but you go up there with a magic number of 1 and you're facing the Dodgers. You have a chance to win the division. Like, how big is this series?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is what we set ourselves up for. It's what we started, even before spring training, talking about, and this is what we have set our sights on, and we're pretty clear about it. And we don't talk a lot about it, but it's, we're more of an action versus words kind of team. And, so now we put ourselves in a position to go and go play, go play for the division. That's what this is all about, and this is what we've been working towards.
Yeah.
That's about the division. He said at his opening press conference, we want to win the NL West. And then people are like, that's funny.
Everybody
I want a job that pays me $1 million a year.
Now, I think at the time, it's viewed as kind of like, what are we doing, Mike?
Sure.
Like, just make the postseason. We're not sitting here trying to compete with a team that just spent $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go out and play the games, and to their credit, the last 56 games they've played, have been incredible baseball to watch.
Mhm.
Incredible. They just got on a heater and they haven't stopped. And I don't know what clicked with this team. I just don't know. Was it the acquisitions that they made? But they were kind of on a roll before that. So is it just as simple as saying, well, you had Jackson Merrill turn into one of the most clutch players in baseball. You had Manny Machado flip the switch and turn into MVP Manny. You had Luis Ariz become like a guy that you never can strike out. Joe Musgrove came back and turned into 2021, 2022 Joe. And then the acquisitions from the bullpen, and I know we have Is That Good come up next, and you'll hear these numbers, have been every acquisition that has been made at the trade deadline have been lights out for the Padres.
As critical as people have been of AJ Preller over the years, us included, he deserves all the credit in the world for what's happened here in 2024. Now, players do, Mike Shildt does. It takes a village, so to speak.
Yeah.
It takes all of those parties to go in the same direction. But the strings that AJ Preller has pulled have been unbelievable.
Every single one he's made.
Yeah, he's like a 10 for 10 in pulling strings this year. Even the minor moves, Estrada off waivers, Peralta, scrap heap, Solano, scrap heap, to the major moves, Arise, Cease,
Scott,
Soto
Adam,
trade.
Yeah, Soto trade.
I mean,
King.
It's amazing. Whether it's large or small, AJ Preller has gotten it all right in 2024.
And Diaz, who is now going to be their backup catcher for the postseason, he had a home run over the weekend for the Padres.
Shoot, Nicky is here. Nick Ahmed's on this active roster right
I'm
now.
sure in the World Series, Nicky Ahmed's going to make a defensive play in Game 7 and save the game.
Bryce Miller says nobody wants to face the San Diego Padres in the postseason. He's a columnist for the UT, and he will join us coming up next. All right, hey guys, it is Jon and Jim, and it is the best time of the year. Week 3 in the NFL obviously is here. We have college football, Major League Baseball postseason is a week away, and with Underdog Fantasy, you can win crazy money. I'm talking about 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats.
Yeah, and if you use the Underdog Fantasy app and download that right now and use our promo code Jon and Jim, you'll get a free gimme pick for tonight's Monday Night Football game. Joe Burrow, higher than a half total yard. All you got to do is just download the Underdog Fantasy app.
Yeah, you download the app or you go to UnderdogFantasy.com, sign up with promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. Underdog's giving you that highly discounted pick to use in your first pick of entry, plus a 50% deposit match up to $1,000, their best offer yet. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code JONANDJIM to claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer.
Yeah, you must be 18 years or older and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, this update is brought to you by the Haunted Trail of Balboa Park. Padres, coming off their sweep against the White Sox this past weekend, have reached 90 wins for the first time since 2010. They have an off day today. They'll start their 6-game road trip to end the season tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium. They are 3 games back of the Dodgers in the National League West. Also, if they just win tomorrow night, they will clinch a playoff berth for the first time since 2022. Moving over to college football and basketball, conference realignment talk. Today, UNLV has they will announce they will be staying in the Mountain West Conference. Memphis, USF, UTSA, and Tulane have all announced that they're staying in the AAC now. So now the Pac-12 will have to go to Plan B. The Haunted Trail of Balboa Park opens September 27th. CNN named the Haunted Trail in the top 5 best haunted attractions in America. Do you have the guts? Get your spot in line reserved now as busy nights sell out fast at hauntedtrail.net. Parking is free.
All right, I thought this article was on cue from Bryce Miller, columnist for the UT, back with us here on Jon Jim. Complete Padres are a matchup no one wants in October. Again, the Padres picked up their 90th win yesterday. They did so in come-from-behind fashion against the White Sox. So, Bryce, we always appreciate your time here on Jon Jim. Let's just start with, why do you say that? Is it because of how the roster is just, it's more complete than it's been in years past, and they can beat you in multiple ways? And thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, I mean, this is a complete roster, no matter what angle you look at it from. I mean, you just start checking boxes and going through a list. Starting pitching. Now they have so much starting pitching that when that gets shortened in the wild card series and potentially in the next round, what do you do with Martin Perez? This is a problem in a good way that no one could have ever suspected earlier in the season the Padres had faced, when you didn't know if Yu Darvish would come back at all. You didn't know when Joe Musgrove came back what that would look like. Dylan Cease had his up and down stretch in the middle, and now he looks as good as he's looked all season. So as you go through the starting pitching, you can check that box. Then you look what they did at the trade deadline with the bullpen, and with Tanner Scott and Jason Adam, and then Jeremiah Estrada and Adrian Morejon had one of the biggest outings he's had all season in this last series. So you start to check that box. And offensively, this team is, scoring over 5 runs a game. That's 4th best in baseball since the break. So they have the ability to score runs. The bench pieces, look, when you needed to play Donovan Solano, he's come through almost every time it's mattered. You look at the speed they have on the bench when they've had to use pinch runners, or they, late in games when they've needed that speed to leverage a late run. So you just start to go, and then you add in the fact that Tatis looks healthy, Manny looks healthy, Manny's found his power again. The lineup is longer and more dangerous than it's been all season because of those guys coming back and being healthier. It's just really hard to go through and find a huge hole. I mean, if you really want to dig for something, you can wring your hands about Robert Suarez, but he still throws 100 miles an hour, and for a huge part of this year he was an all-star. So these are problems any team in baseball would take, the small ones that might exist that you have to dig for. It's just this roster is as complete as they've ever had in San Diego.
So they're 40-16 in their last 56 games after falling to 50-50 earlier this year. In your opinion, Bryce, what's the biggest reason why they've gone on this run?
This is a really good question, and I'm not sure I've thought of it like that, because it just seems like it's so broad what's happening with this team. It feels really difficult to pinpoint one thing. I mean, and really to put a record together like that, it can't be one thing. I mean, it's got to be the starting pitching coming together in the way that it has. Pretty much every piece they've needed has come through at the right time for this point on the calendar. So that's one thing. They've found enough offense when they've needed it. The addition of Luis Arraez just to bring him in a moment like that, and he doubles exactly when you need it in that game against the White Sox. It's just so many things that I don't think there is one thing that made it happen. It's got to be a bunch of things. And for the Padres, it's, and I heard you guys a little bit leading in, and I think you were spot on. They haven't really misfired on anything. And that's the amazing part of this is when special seasons happen, that's what it looks like. You don't misfire. You get a bunch of things right, and that's what the Padres have done, especially since the All-Star break.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Bryce Miller, columnist for the UT, with us right now on Jon and Jim. You look at the job of Mike Shildt, and it's not just Shildt, it's not just Preller, it's not just the players, it's just this like confluence of events. But the job Mike Shildt has done deserves an extension, does it not? And then you could argue the same thing for a Ruben Niebla or for a Victor Rodriguez, their hitting coach. You think an extension is just a matter of time at this point for Mike Shildt, at least another year off this year?
I don't want to pretend I know something there that I don't. So I haven't heard anything like that. I think they've got their heads down with this season because they know how much is there in front of them. And those feel like, conversations down the road. But the one thing you can't deny is Mike Shildt, as a manager in Major League Baseball, has won at every stop. I mean, he never didn't win in St. Louis. That's not the reason it ended with the Cardinals. He's now, in his first 3 seasons, won 90 games. And winning 90 games, you don't have to remind people in San Diego what a rarity that is over the history of this franchise. And he's doing it in his first season, which is remarkable when you think that first season includes cutting more than $90 million in payroll, getting rid of Juan Soto, Blake Snell, Josh Hader, go through your list of how many things changed for this team, and to win 90 games and play as well as they are right now. I think probably any conversation like that is on the table, but I knowing Mike Shildt, to the degree I do know him, that is absolutely the last thing on that guy's mind right now.
I think we can all say that this team will make the postseason. Like they just got to win one more game. They're in. We're all putting them in. For you, Bryce, in the National League, who scares you the most?
Oh boy. Geez. I don't know that it's the Dodgers, and I thought about maybe writing this because if you end up seeing the Dodgers a series down the road, I mean, they could still, if they win in the opening round, they could face the Phillies, but that's fluid. I mean, that's moved even in the last few days. Mm-hmm. But in a longer series, Dodgers starting pitching becomes a concern. Even their bullpen, that becomes a concern. So as strange as it sounds, this $1 billion team that got Ohtani and added that to Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman, went out and got Yamamoto, had Tyler Glasnow, who they don't have now. To think at this point, you're like, that's not a bad matchup. Plus the fact that the recent history winning that season series fairly easily before you even, play these last 3 at Dodger Stadium. That's maybe not their worst matchup. I think the hot hand in the playoffs can be a thing. And, the Diamondbacks have dropped a few recently, but since the break, they're also one of the hottest teams in baseball. But you could also turn around and make that argument with the Mets, who have turned it around and put themselves in position to be in the playoffs because they've been that hot. So if forced to answer, maybe the Diamondbacks, because there's familiarity there. But we're about to find out what that might look like here in the next week.
Bryce, before you go, obviously it was about 10 days ago, San Diego State announced with 3 other schools they'd be joining the Pac-12 with Oregon State and Washington State. The story is played out in real time today. I don't know how much of this you have followed or not, but what is your reaction to the way that realignment is playing out and what the Pac-12 is attempting to accomplish here in this crazy college athletic landscape?
Yeah, I mean, it's sand shifting under everyone's feet. I mean, you get schools that are promising to stay, and then 48 hours later they leave. You're getting schools like Memphis and Tulane and others saying they're going to stay. and they're not going to entertain offers from the Pac-12. But everybody does. Everybody looks. Everybody discusses their own situation. But at the end of the day, the Pac-12 needs 2 more football schools, and they've got about a year and a half to do it. So it'll get interesting, and they're going to get to that number. Who could that be? I mean, it almost depends on the day you have that conversation, what that might look like. But I guess the only rule in my mind about conference realignment is don't believe anything until it's in ink, until it's concrete, because how many schools we heard we're staying, we're committing, and it changes. So it's the craziest time college athletics has ever seen. It's the most seismic. It's the biggest potential for change, and that's part of what San Diego State's job is in all this, to start to beat the drum and sell the Pac-12 and be a part of that change, because they've got work to do.
Bryce, always appreciate the insight. Great writing in your column today in the UT about the Padres, how dangerous they are heading into the postseason here in 2024. We appreciate the time, Bryce. We'll do it again, all right?
Yeah, you got it.
All right, Bryce Miller, columnist with the UT. By the way, we do have Green Day tickets to give away. Is that right? We have Green Day tickets today. We have Miramar Air Show tickets to give away. We've got the latest in a crazy day of realignment. I promise we will get to that. And on the other side, we will get to Is That Good? The best and worst of the sports weekend. Chris Hodge from Taking Vegas has free picks for our listeners coming up at 4:15. Don't go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim. Really busy day in Realignment. We'll talk about it at 4 p.m. Chris Hodge taking Vegas.com with Joseph 4:15. He's got free picks for our listeners. Jon and Jim with you. We have great giveaways today, Jim. Did you realize that?
I did, John. You want to tell everybody what we have?
We have Green Day tickets. We have Miramar Air Show tickets. By the way, the big story today, we have Padres Dodgers, biggest regular season series for the Padres in 15 years. We have Realignment going crazy here today. We have great giveaways, and we have Jim with a new computer, at least for the moment. His computer was so awful. I have been pressuring him for 3 years to buy a new computer. Today, he finally does it, and I was like, I might return it. Your old computer sucks.
It worked, though.
No, it didn't. That was the key distinction.
I mean, it worked up until last night.
Are you paying to get it fixed, or is it or is it getting fixed for free?
So I don't know because you need you need an appointment.
Yeah, like the Genius Bar.
And since this happened late last night, I couldn't schedule an appointment until Tuesday morning.
Okay.
So I went into the Apple store today. I asked, how long's the wait? Now they just released the iPhone 16, so the store is packed. And they go, well, since you couldn't get an appointment, the wait time is about 5 hours. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's going to work out for me. So
5 hours.
5 hours.
Okay.
So I said, screw it. I'm just going to buy a new computer.
And you ended up buying the nicest, most expensive. But you went, I told you yesterday, you could have gotten in at like $1,000 or $1,099. This MacBook, whatever Air was, I don't know what it was, $1,200-1,300. You end up leaving with a $2,500 computer. You didn't have to do that, dude. All we need is StreamYard. Look at that thing. That thing is gorgeous. You got like gold keys on that thing. You didn't need to do it.
It's a good thing you don't need a car.
Jeez.
Here's the thing.
Why did you go with the most expensive one?
John, I panicked. All right.
Oh my gosh.
I
should have gone with you.
I know. And I wanted to get the MacBook Air, the one that you have.
And what was the problem?
But then I'm thinking to myself, well, I want to have this computer last for a long time if I keep it. So the better option was, and I'm the worst when it comes to this, I always want the newest thing possible. And so I look at this one and I'm like, well, kind of like this one. And they were telling me the specs on it compared to that one. And I told him I stream a lot for the wrap-up show and our Jon and Jim show. And he's like, well, this one's probably the best for streaming.
Best for streaming? What do you... Dude, these modern computers are all great for streaming.
I know. So my dumbass said, sure. And I'm like in a rush too, because I'm like, I got to go. It's like 1:30. So I just get this one.
Go return it. I'm being serious now. Go return it. I'm dead serious. And go get a MacBook Air for half the price.
I know.
Just go do that.
I know.
And I'm dead serious.
Because I can't. I mean, this thing it's great.
But it's worth more than your job.
But I don't. Exactly. It's a lot of money. And it's working great today. So
that's great. Go return it.
I got 14 days to return.
Let's get to this.
Is that good?
Wilcox, snapper, Huber, holder from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly. Kick on the way. Boswell. That's a winner.
The good and bad from the sports weekend.
All right, I'll start. Since joining the Padres at the trade deadline, John, these four guys, Martin Perez, Tanner Scott, Jason Adam, Brian Hoeing, here's what they have done. Martin Perez has a 2.61 ERA and 48 1/3 innings pitched. Tanner Scott has a 2.19 ERA and 24 2/3 innings pitched. Jason Adam has a 1.11 ERA and 24 1/3 innings pitched. And my boy Brian Hoeing has a 0.87 ERA and 20 2/3 innings pitched. Brent, is that good?
It is good!
All right, I'll follow on the Padres bandwagon. How about just this? They've won 90 games for the first time since 2010. It's only the fifth time in the history of the franchise they have won 90 games in a season.
Is that good?
They still have 6 games to play. Is that good?
It is good!
I'll go with this right here, John. Fernando Tatis Jr., since returning from the IL, he had a home run yesterday. It was the cherry on top. Since his return, he's hit 6 home runs since his return, right? Because 6 home runs, because he had 14 when he left. He's 6 home runs since his return. He's hitting 311, with a 1,000 OPS plus over his last 15 games. Brent, is that good?
Hey, Jim. Take a look at the rundown for the first time today. Look at John's second point under is that good?
See, here's the thing. I don't look at that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the problem. The show has a rundown.
I know.
Which is called preparedness.
There we go.
Let me read my second one. Fernando Tatis Jr., since returning from the IL, has hit 6 home runs in 17 games with a 939 OPS. I don't want to hear about your computer.
I've got a lot going on today.
Oh, please.
I had to buy a new computer and I
You
spent all
got
my
there
money.
at 1 p.m.
I spent all my money.
Next.
Padres are 40-16 in their last 56 games.
Best record in the sport.
Best record in the sport. Brent, is that good?
It is good.
And my final one is very analytical. Caleb Williams sucks. Is that good?
No, he's not good. Are you kidding
He
me?
did throw 2 touchdown passes yesterday.
He did.
He did
And
throw
3
2
interceptions and a fumble,
And he
too.
did have 3 turnovers yesterday as well. All right. Is that good? The best and worst of the sports weekend. Now, here's what we're going to do in the 4 o'clock hour. Chris Hodge taking Vegas normally joins us on Thursdays. He's going to join us on Monday with 2 Monday Night Football games. He has 2 free picks for our listeners. So Chris Hodge will join us coming up at 4:15. We have Miramar Air Show tickets to give away. We'll do that at some point between now and 6 p.m. We have Green Day tickets. This is Saturday night at Petco Park. Green Day and the Smashing Pumpkins. Saturday night, Petco Park. We'll do that during Trainwreck Radio. Jim, meanwhile, is off just daydreaming about his credit card bill. You're just thinking about, like, how am I going to pay this thing off?
Yeah, I know. I'm returning this thing.
Is there a restocking fee?
No, there's not.
Not in 14 days? I'll save you half the money. Bring it back tonight. Go get a cheaper one. Everyone's a winner. You get an affordable laptop for half the price of that. It's going to work for everything we do, stream-wise and otherwise. And you're good. You're going to need a new computer at some point anyway. Your laptop's from 2016.
That is correct.
Jones
I
was
think you should just
negative.
take it back and get a more expensive one.
Yeah, Jones was -4 in 2016, and he's in kindergarten. Nobody has a computer for 10 years.
I want you to come back tomorrow with a laptop with like Skynet and Jarvis like put together to where it's all voice operated to where
I'm like, I came back with 2 computers. I spent $5,000.
it's like, hey, Aaron, if we have kids, none of them can go to college.
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying.
All right.
We'll home teach them.
On the other side, it has been a completely insane realignment day on social media. We have the latest for you next. How does it impact San Diego State and the Pac-12? Plus, Chris Hodge from Taking Vegas will join us at 4:15. Plus, the 4 o'clock hour, your chance to win again. Green Day tickets for Saturday night at Petco Park with the Smashing Pumpkins. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim comes your way next.
All right, this update is brought to you by the Haunted Trail of Balboa Park. Padres have an off day today, coming off their sweep of the White Sox over the weekend. They've reached 90 wins for the first time since 2010. They start a 3-game series with the Dodgers tomorrow night up in LA as they trail the Dodgers for the National League West Division by 3 games with 6 games to go. In conference realignment, it's a crazy day. UTSA, Memphis, USF, and Tulane have all announced that they're staying in the AAC. UNLV has announced or will announce they will be staying in the Mount West Conference. And right now the Pac-12 has offered a Utah State to join the conference. An announcement on that is coming up here soon. The Haunted Trail of Balboa Park opens September 27th. CNN named the Haunted Trail in the top 5 best haunted attractions in America. Do you have the guts? Get your spot in line reserved now as busy nights sell out fast at hauntedtrail.net. Parking is free.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2, Jon and Jim. Chris Hodge taking Vegas will join us in less than 15 minutes. He has 2 free picks for our listeners. He'll have Monday Night Football for us. He'll have college football this weekend. There's a huge college football game, Alabama and Georgia, this weekend. Chris Hodge, 2-0 last week, will join us coming up at 4:15. And again, we have those Smashing Pumpkins Green Day tickets to give away for Saturday night at Petco Park. We do want to remind you, starting next Monday, San Diego Sports 760 has 13 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday with the inflation vacation. Listen for the nationwide keyword at the top of every hour from 6 a.m. through 6 p.m. Then enter it at sportssd.com. It all starts next Monday at 6 a.m. Let's talk realignment for a second. The fact that we didn't for an hour honestly took work from me.
Yeah, I know.
So I honestly deserve something for that.
Do you want some peach cobbler?
Kind of. It looks good. So we wake up today and it becomes a bit of a decision day. Are schools like Memphis and Tulane going to jump for the Pac-12 or not? And we find out earlier today, I'm at a San Diego State press conference, that it sounded as if Memphis and Tulane rejected the overtures from Pac-12, stay put, right? Mm-hmm. And then from there, the Mountain West is trying to keep the 8 they still have after San Diego State, Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado State departed for the Pac-12. They're trying to keep their 8 in order by offering them money, essentially. And most of those schools committed to remain in the Mountain West, which I think a week ago would have surprised people, like UNLV.
Offering the money that would be coming from the fees that the departing Mountain West schools would pay the Mountain West Conference.
100%, correct. However, what we've learned within the last hour, according to Pete Thamel at ESPN, well, there's 2 things. First of all, Brett McMurphy this afternoon reported that after Tulane and Memphis said no, Gonzaga is going to say yes.
But he's been the only person that's reported that, and everybody else has said, hold on, but that's not official yet.
Correct, but nobody has said it's not going to happen. But people have said they're talking, but it hasn't been determined. But you're spot on. It's not officially official. Right. But Brett McMurphy, who's really good on this, maybe he spoke too soon. Others have said they're talking. Yeah. So there's that. And then we learn within the hour, it's probably within the last 30 minutes, truthfully, Pete Thamel reporting Utah State, which was one of that core of 8 remaining in the Mountain West, Jim, is going to or is expected to accept an invite to the Pac-12, which means this. The Pac-12's got to get to 8 football members. They have Oregon State, Washington State, San Diego State, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State.
States.
And reportedly Utah State. They should be sponsored by Allstate because that's 7 state schools.
So they need one more state school.
And they need one more school. That's where we are.
Yeah. Kyle Bonagora, who we had on the show last week, about 20 minutes ago, tweeted out, conversations with Gonzaga started when the AAC schools were still in play. Without them, the revenue projections are less, which impacts what a hypothetical deal looks like with Gonzaga. Football likely needs to be dealt with before basketball schools truly enter. This is, to me, not a great day for the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they miscalculated. I don't know. Again, by the way, like this isn't it just. I don't know what happened here. I think the reported deals for the AAC schools was of the $25 million exit fee that they would need to pay to join the Pac-12. The Pac-12 would supply a little under $3 million for each school.
Mm-hmm.
That's not enough because these schools can't just all of a sudden be like, yeah, here's 25 mil or here's 22 mil. They don't have that type of money. They're not in the big conference that they can have money just like for a rainy day. You know, they're not that type. They're that type of conference.
Pac-12?
No, the AAC schools. Memphis is
Yeah, I got
the
you.
UTSA. So right now, what it's looking like is the new version of the Pac-12 kind of fumbled over themselves today. Like they miscalculated. They took a risk. They're going to complete this with whatever school they bring in, with it's Utah State and whoever else. But this ain't plan A. This probably ain't even plan B.
Well, let me say this, because as I think through it, the initial move by Oregon State and Washington State, almost in the heat of the night, to grab 4 schools, was widely regarded as a very shrewd, wise decision. You're rebuilding a conference. The only 2 quote unquote power programs out there are Oregon State and Washington State. We all agree on that, right? So you start with that. I mean, think about this a week ago. San Diego State a week ago was not in a league with Oregon State and Washington State, the only 2 power, quote unquote, power programs out there. In addition to that, they were in a league that many would argue that had, quote unquote, dead weight in it. I'm talking about, not to be disrespectful, but this is what people would tell you. What's the value of Hawaii football? What's the value of Wyoming athletics? What's the value of New Mexico, right? This is what people would tell you, right? That the value of the Mountain West was San Diego State, Boise State, and they were essentially subsidizing the rest of the league. So you still separated from the quote unquote dead weight. You've gotten away from San Jose State. You've gotten away from Nevada, Reno. You've gotten away from New Mexico. Now, the home run may have been to go get Memphis and Tulane, right? But clearly there were hurdles there, geography included. I mean, at the end of the day, was Memphis willing to play games in Corvallis? Was Tulane going to play games in Pullman?
Yeah.
And now we still wait on Gonzaga, and we still wait on the 8th football member. My point is this. It was always going to, for Oregon State and Washington State to rebuild the Pac-12 was a risky endeavor that involves a lot of money. What was their other option? They could have gone to the Mountain West, but then they would have been lumped in with the quote-unquote dead weight. They've still separated. This is a starting point. This was never going to be a power league, not a week ago. This wasn't yet going to be a power league a week ago. They need to be shrewd with their decision-making process from here on out. Maybe they didn't have everything go their way. I still am taking a league with Boise State and San Diego State and Oregon State and Washington State over what the Aztecs were in a week ago.
And it's looking like now it's going to pretty much be the Mountain West Conference 2 with the fat trimmed off. And then you replace that with Oregon State and Washington State, which is still better than what they were in. I mean, truthfully,
that's my point.
But it's not as good as I think we all hoped. Like we were sitting here just a week ago or whenever this announcement happened, 2 weeks ago.
It was a week ago, Thursday.
Okay. And it was like the possibilities. I mean, you can go out and you can get the best from here and the best from there and truly make like the best of the rest type of situation. That ain't going to be it. It's not going to be this new Pac-12. And you might sit here and say, well, they also miscalculated from a standpoint of not getting UNLV on the initial first wave, because UNLV would have been a perfect school because of the facilities they have and basketball and football, and where you can just go and have a Pac-12 title game in Vegas every single year,
which I still think you can do.
You can do it, but
Pac-12 had their title games there without UNLV.
Yeah, but they also were a conference that had it was a Power 5 conference.
I mean, let's be honest with each other. Are we saying the whole thing, does it hinge successfully on UNLV, or does it hinge on being successful based on Memphis and Tulane?
I think right now it hinges on, can they add Gonzaga as the basketball school? Because you could honestly say adding Gonzaga might be bigger than adding any football program
from a brand perspective.
For a brand perspective,
sure.
Just because now you would create one of the better West Coast basketball leagues that you can remember with San Diego State, Gonzaga, Boise State's pretty good in basketball. Colorado State's been good in basketball recently. Utah State, if they're coming, has been good in basketball. You still have Oregon State and Washington State. But it's not going to be what I think we all thought it was going to be, unfortunately.
I want to see how it all plays out. And again, I would also say this I would stay light. Like, I'm not going to 12 or 16. I want to get to 8 or 9, because what if other things shake out in the coming years? The ACC gets pried loose from Florida State and Clemson. All of a sudden, other schools become available, or that gives you another option as well. For me, when I think about UNLV, I mean, what were you going to say?
I was just saying the AAC schools. I mean, that's going to be a pretty big hurdle for those schools to.
AAC or ACC?
Oh, sorry. Did you say?
I'm saying if Florida State and Clemson leave the ACC, then who knows what comes of the ACC?
But that's just banking on like the
Chaos.
half-court shot.
Well, that's my point, and that's why I would have done what San Diego State did, which is you can't wait for the Big 12 or the ACC. You need to be proactive, and that's what they've done in this equation. Again, there's always going to be a risk in this. To me, it's not like make or break because UNLV is or is not in the league. I've watched San Diego State, UNLV for the last 10 years. UNLV was never good at football until this year or within the last year. And UNLV hasn't been good at basketball in 30 years. Right. So it's not like UNLV is making or breaking this league. You could argue maybe it's Memphis. Maybe it's Tulane. Maybe it's UNLV. I would say it starts with the core of 6. Oregon State, Washington State, San Diego State, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, to me, is a better option than what was previously occurring.
Yeah. And if you added Gonzaga and St. Mary's, or Gonzaga and Grand Canyon
for
the basketball side, then
that could be
now you're cooking for a basketball conference. But football wise, it's not a great day.
Chris Hodge taking Vegas will join us on the other side. He has free picks for our listeners. Will join us next. All right, hey guys, it's Jon Jim. It is a Monday night in September, which means get down to Crumbl Casino all football season long, especially here in September. Monday nights, you've got a chance to win big with Monday Night Live $100,000 Punch-Out.
Yeah, John, with 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m., your odds are better than ever. Plus, earn entries all month long by playing and getting 2-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $100,000 in cash.
You're going to love their food. Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, so many other options, plus endless dining is 5 nights a week. Their endless dining options include Saturday night surf and turf buffet. They've gone over the top with perfect combinations of succulent steaks, delectable seafood, and more.
Yeah, get to Crumbl Casino all football season long, including every Monday night for Monday Night Live $100,000 Punch-Out. Crumbl Casino, it's fun above all else.
All right, great to have Chris Hodge taking Vegas.com back with us on a Monday night. He typically joins us Thursday, but we have 2 Monday night football games. Chris is coming off a great week for our listeners. He was 2-0 Thursday, had the Tennessee Volunteers game for us, had the under and Chargers Steelers on Sunday as well. And he's back with us right now on Jon and Jim. So 2 Monday night football games, Chris. How can our listeners get Bengals Commanders tonight? And thanks for hopping back on.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Same as always, Washington and Cincinnati. That's the later game that goes at 8:15 Eastern time, 5:15 your time. Just text the word win to the number 545454. Game gets sent back to you automatically. I assume many of you have already placed your wagers on Jacksonville and Buffalo. To me, that looks like a big sucker play with Buffalo because that line is coming down. They're better than Jacksonville. Looks like a weird, fishy game. So we stayed away from that one. But Washington and Cincinnati, give it out absolutely free. All you have to do is text the word win to the number 545454.
Massive weekend coming up here in college football. Let's get to your free pick here with Georgia and Alabama. Which way are you leaning on that one?
So crazy game, right? Because it's the first time Alabama's been underdogged at home in like 17 seasons. Obviously, that's insane to me. There's something interesting though, and I was talking about this last week. With the Tennessee head coach there, Heupel. This is really the first time that the Boer is coaching against a really big SEC team. Now I know we coached in the national title game last year and went against Jim Harbaugh, and that didn't really work out well. We didn't have the better team. Michigan was the better team, but there are still questions as to can this guy coach in the SEC against elite competition. Now here's the problem. Georgia just went and played Kentucky and looked like a high school team. Like they just looked like they went through the motions. They only scored 13 points in the game. Now, were they looking ahead to Alabama? Probably. They're kids. But I think both teams are going to play this game carefully. I think it's going to be like a prize fight where they just try to figure out themselves in the first 3 or 4 rounds. And then I don't think it's ever going to get to that high-scoring, entertaining game. So you look at what Georgia has scored and has allowed, and you look at what Alabama has allowed, and they're always good at defensively at home. And the total's at 48.5. That's a lot of points. Now, I know it's the showcase game on Saturday night. Giving you an under doesn't really move the needle. And I know the game is still 5 days away, but I don't see how this team gets into the 40s, much less 48.5. So I'm going to go with under, and I'm thinking 17-13. I'm thinking way under. So I think it's a defensive game, and I think the under is going to be easy.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like some of those Alabama LSU games back in the day. I'm with you on that. Take the under in Georgia, Alabama. Again, if you want the free pick tonight, Bengals, Commanders, Cincinnati, Washington, just text WIN, WIN, to 545454. All right, you have another free pick for our listeners right now on the radio. Thursday Night Football, you can hear right here on San Diego Sports 760 at 5:15. Cowboys and Giants. What's your free play in that one, Chris?
All right, so this is the equivalent of walking into a bank with a note saying you want all the money, and they give it to you without calling the cops. That's the equivalent of what this game is, because that's how easy Dallas is going to destroy the Giants. This is not even going to be a game. I'm from New York, and I know the Giants very well. It's not even going to be a game. And I know a lot's going on with Dallas. They get killed by New Orleans at home. And, Baltimore, yeah, they have a comeback, but they were really down big in that game. But the Giants haven't won a Thursday night game since 2015. And the Giants historically, I know they had different players with different coaches, but historically, doesn't matter who it is. For some reason, this organization never plays well on short days, especially when they're home. They just find a way to lose these games. Furthermore, they've lost 6 straight to Dallas. Last year, if you combine the 2 games, they got outscored 89-17. They lost 40-0 at home. So everyone's seeing the Giants beat Cleveland, which who cares? It's Cleveland. And everyone's seeing Dallas just in disarray. But whenever Dallas sees the Giants, they tend to be healed. I don't know what it is. I don't know why the Giants can't beat this team, but the Giants haven't played well against Dallas basically forever. All right. And the last 6 times they played them, they pretty much got beat up pretty bad. So you're getting a score at Dallas -4.5. That is an atrocious line. This line should be 7-8 easy because Dallas is going to win this game by double digits, and they're going to do so in easy fashion. And then everyone's going to be back on the Dallas bandwagon thinking they're going to the Super Bowl again because that's what happens with the Cowboys. But this is going to be an easy game for Dallas.
Chris, with so many games each week, how do you pick the ones that you're going to choose? And then when you start breaking them all down?
Oh, man, that's a great question. Sunday night, we have a group text message in my office at 1 o'clock in the morning, Sunday night, early Monday morning, is when we start our research for games coming up. And we say it all the time. There's no special sauce. Like, we work hard. And we do the work that the layperson can't do, meaning that, like, what are you guys doing right now? And you're involved, but you're hosting a radio show. So you got to go through radio prep. You got to do all this stuff. And you guys know sports more than most people in this country. But you still got to do a lot of work, and you don't have the time to really put it into sports wagering from a gambling perspective in terms of what the spread is. Yeah, you can pick games, outright or that. But once the spread gets in, and even that's hard, because think about it. Like, I just read something that 80% of suicide pools were eliminated through 3 weeks. And that's just picking, outright. So we have a whole staff. I have 15 guys that work for me. We go over every single game, break down games, get into the local newspapers, make whatever calls we can make, and just try to give an advantage and do the work that, a man or woman that's working 40 or 50 hours a week, dealing with a commute, dealing with another life, dealing with family, they just don't have the time to do it. So that's our job. We do it well, and I think the record speaks for itself.
All right, Chris Hodge taking Vegas. Again, if you want tonight's Bengals-Commanders game, all you need to do, it's free. Just text WIN to 545454. It's on that recorded line. Not looking for a play in the other game, but you have 2 cents on it. Bills-Jags about to kick off. Some thoughts on the other Monday Night Football game tonight?
Well, I'll tell you 2 things. One football, one baseball. So
yeah,
I think it's a sucker bet with Buffalo tonight. I really do. Buffalo's the better football team. And the fact that line is coming down, it's really fishy. So I would stay away from that game. If I was leaning, I would leave Jacksonville. Baseball-wise, so I don't know if I told you guys this. My wife, miserable. She's a fan of the New York Mets. I think I've been over this with you before, and it's just terrible. So if the Mets play the Padres in the playoffs, man, I'm with you guys, because I don't want to see my wife happy about this Mets team. I can't stand them. They're just miserable people. So I'll be rooting for the Padres against the Mets, and hopefully they get the job done if that's the matchup.
All right, Chris, we will have you on next week. We're looking forward to tonight. Again, a pair of Monday Night Football games. And again, if you want Bengals-Commanders, text WIN, W-I-N, to 545454. Chris was 2-0 last week. On Thursday, had the Tennessee Volunteers, had the under on Chargers-Steelers. Chris, always appreciate it, man. We'll do it again next week, all right?
All right, thanks for having me on Monday night, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, anytime. Chris Hodge from Taking Vegas. All right, here's what we're going to do on the other side. We are giving away tickets to the Green Day concert at Petco Park. We're doing that within the next 30 minutes. We're going to get to some of your phone calls. We'll get back to the Padres getting set for as big of a regular season series as they've had in years against the Dodgers tomorrow at Dodger Stadium. We're here until 6 p.m. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by the Haunted Trail of Balboa Park. Padres, they have an off day today. They have 6 games remaining in the regular season. They're 3 games back of the Dodgers in the National League West. They start a series with the Dodgers tomorrow. 3 games with the Dodgers, trailing by 3 games, 6 games remaining. If they win, then they clinch a playoff spot, first time since 2022. The Haunted Trail of Balboa Park opens September 27th. CNN named the Haunted Trail in the top 5 best haunted attractions in America. Do you have the guts? Get your spot in line. Reserve now, as busy nights sell out fast at hauntedtrail.net. Parking is free.
iHeartRadio bringing the Global Citizen Festival 2024 from New York City, Central Park Square Mall, by Post Malone, Doja Cat, Jelly Roll, Benson Boone, and more, all hosted by Wolverine and Selfie Jack. Join the movement to end extreme poverty now, while actually the time at Global Citizen Festival. Wolverine, like Batman.
Yep, exactly. Batman and Wolverine. They're all in the same movie.
We'll get to the wrap in a moment. We do have tickets to give away this hour for Green Day with the Smashing Pumpkins. This will be this Saturday night at Petco Park. Before we get to the wrap, let's get to Dave, who's been very patient. If you want to weigh in, I don't know if Dave wants to weigh in on the Padres or realignment. He wants to weigh in on the Pac-12. 877-767-4760. Dave, thanks for the patience. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Well, thanks again, guys.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to wait for you because you're always talking about good stuff. So I can wait and talk about this Pac-12 dilemma. And I think Jim hit the nail on the head. What we're talking about, really, what's left here is Pac-12 sitting on a double-edged sword here. You don't have a complement of schools yet that you can then sell to the media for television rights. And on the flip side, if you're out trying to recruit new members, you really don't have a television contract that you can put on the dotted line and say, this is what we can give you based upon what we know in the TV contract. And then what makes it even worse is what's left over, and I call it basically the leftover conference, really doesn't fit in many cases. And so what we are going to end up with is what Jim said, we're going to go to Mountain West 2.0. And you won't see, obviously, the lesser ends like Hawaii and Wyoming and I guess Air Force decide to go their separate ways. But that's what we're going to be left with. And I do hope that they come in with UNLV. Makes perfect sense. Should have been in the first iteration. Unfortunately, I think the worst part to all of this, guys, the original goal, if you recall, for San Diego State was to get into a Power 5. That ain't happening. And my fear is we can talk about ACC and what may happen to them and this, that, and the other thing. The ACC or some other conference, Big Ten, whatever, could come along and pluck Washington State and Oregon State. So then where are you going to be? I mean, who knows where this is going to?
Well, nobody can predict the future. And Dave, thank you. I still stick by this. First of all, when they announced they were going to the Pac-12, nobody said they were going to a Power 5 league. So that was never the goal. Nobody said it's going to be a Power 5 league. Literally no one. And then secondly, would you rather play Oregon State and Washington State at home or Wyoming and San Jose State?
Exactly.
Do you want to play Boise State every other year at home? They're not now because it's unbalanced. They play them like every 5th year at home. You want to play Boise State at home? You want to play Fresno State at home? You want to play Oregon State, Washington State, or you want to play San Jose State? To me, that's a big difference. Now, is it playing Oregon and Washington and SC and UCLA? No, it's not. But nobody said it was going to be after the initial Pac-12 dissolved a year ago.
Yeah, any idiot out there is like, oh, well, they're going to have to get like North Dakota State or like some random school from the FCS.
That's not what's happening.
It's not happening, first off. Secondly, the entire goal of what the Aztecs are trying to accomplish is being in a better conference than the Mountain West.
Just upgrade.
It's
like your computer situation.
Now, I upgraded to a Power 5.
You should have gone with the best of the rest.
Pretty
You
much.
should have gone
yeah.
MacBook Air.
I went SEC, Big Ten.
Yeah.
I should have gone maybe new Pac-12.
Yes, I agree with that.
And that's exactly what San Diego State's doing here. Now, I will say, I don't think the four schools that left the Mountain West and Oregon State and Washington State expected what happened today to happen. So their goals might have to be refined a little bit, because I think rightfully so, they were shooting for the moon from what they could realistically get. They couldn't get Cal, they couldn't get Stanford, because they're in the ACC forever, unfortunately.
For now.
But you can't wait. You got to get a conference made.
That's right.
And so they, for the what they could do, they shot for the moon. They missed. That doesn't mean that this conference is going to suck. This just means this conference isn't right now going to be as good as I think everybody hoped and wanted it to be, but they are still better than where the Mountain West and where they were.
Guys, Boise State's the front runner for the Group of 5 playoff spot. Washington State's 25th in the country. No, 26th. Boise's 25th. Oregon State's 3-1. Fresno State's been great.
Right.
I mean, San Diego State is San Diego State with Snapdragon Stadium. Colorado State plays Colorado. They've got good prize properties outside of the quote-unquote power leagues. You're right. Would it be better with Memphis and Tulane? You could make an argument it would be. But we don't even know how this shakes out. We don't know if Gonzaga's in. We don't know if Gonzaga's out. We don't know what additional members are in. We don't know what additional members aren't. So I would say have a little bit of patience. 10 days ago, everyone told me how great it was. They separated from the bottom half of the Mountain West, and they added the quote-unquote power programs that were available. Now, 10 days later, because they didn't land UNLV, the sky's falling, that's a little bit of a bridge too far for me, and we'll see how it all pans out.
Not going to sugarcoat. It's not a great day. It's for where the Pac-12 wanted to go and what they wanted to accomplish. Today was not a good day, but that still doesn't mean that this conference can't be good, and it's already definitively a better conference now than the Mountain West.
I think it's better than the American. Look at what Gary Parrish, who covers the American as a Memphis grad, is saying. He covers college basketball.
Yeah.
If you follow Memphis Twitter today, like Cal Twitter,
what are you doing?
Memphis Twitter has lost their mind. How could you not be aspirational, Memphis? How could you not want to align yourselves with athletic departments with revenues like you? The AAC has schools like Charlotte and East Carolina and Temple. Why wouldn't you want to play Oregon State, Washington State, and Boise State? So, this isn't some universal, yay, we won American. That's not how it's being received at all. If nothing, it's a bit of a staring contest between the top of the American wishing they were with the top of the Pac-12, but for whatever reason, those two sides haven't fully come together as of yet.
Shout out ECU, though.
Shout out ECU, Aaron.
That's where Aaron went to college. So
sorry, Aaron.
Go Pirates.
Yeah. Greenville, what's up? All right, let's get to this. In a moment.
In a second.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Is the upcoming series against the Doyers a must-win series for the Padres?
Only if they want to win the NL West, and truthfully, they need to sweep the Dodgers here.
Do they want to win that?
Yeah, they do. They do want to win that, I think. You take 2 or 3, you're not winning the division most likely, but you'll lock up the 4 seed by Friday if you do that, right? Because if you win 2 or 3, now Arizona plays tonight against San Francisco, so they have a 4-game series versus the Giants.
Yeah, I don't think they lock it up by taking 2 out of 3, because what if Arizona wins their next 4 and there's a 3-game series against the Padres?
Actually, sorry, I think Arizona only plays a 3-game series.
Well, they still can't lock it up.
Yeah, they only play a 3-game series.
Because if Arizona wins out, they'd be 3 back with 3 to play?
What if Arizona loses 2 or 3 here and you take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers?
Then you've clinched the 4 seed.
There you go. So was what needed to happen. It's not a must-win series, but you're 8-3 versus the Dodgers this year. You've already won the season series versus them. It would be, I don't think you have to, but maybe a little hey, we're putting you on notice. If we meet you in the postseason, be ready.
I think they're already on notice. I heard Dave Roberts, we played it with Dan Patrick here on the station, saying the best team we played this year is the Padres. They don't have to win this series. It would be great if they did. They'd continue to just keep pressure on LA and continue to prove that they may, in fact, be the best team in the National League, but it's probably premature to say they have to win it because I think they're going to the postseason either way. If they're going to win the division, they have to win it. Otherwise, they're going to the postseason either way. Next question.
Which team's been the most disappointing in the NFL?
You changed the rap question, Jim.
No, I didn't. It says, which NFL team has been the biggest disappointment so far?
Okay. Someone changed the rap questions at 4:30.
Oh.
That's last week's rap, John. You want to do that again?
Well, some of it is and some of it isn't.
I'm reading the 4 o'clock one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're going off of.
Okay. So now you answer it.
So big NFL disappointments.
49ers.
It's 49ers. 1-2, injuries everywhere.
Now, Cowboys are making a good case
It's the
for
Niners. Cowboys are always
You
disappointing.
baited me with this question.
But the Niners are, the Cowboys are always disappointing. 30 straight years of disappointment.
True, but 1-2 to start the season, getting blown out by the Saints and losing yesterday at home. That's the first time they've lost, I think, back-to-back home games since 2017.
Niners lost at home to the Rams, even though it was in LA.
I know.
As a huge favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, the season will be a disappointment. They're having a million injuries. Brock's playing great, but the rest of their team sucks. And Juwan Jennings is great as well, along with Jordan Mason. Everyone else, trash. Next question.
Which NFL team has been the biggest surprise?
I'm going to go with the Sam Darnold Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold has been playing out of his mind, leads the league in touchdown passes. They dismantled the Texans yesterday, and the Texans are viewed as potentially one of the best teams in the AFC, a team that maybe could go toe-to-toe with the lucky-ass Chiefs. So for me, it's the Vikings, and the defense has been great. Offense has been great. I'm going with them. Aaron Jones has been really good. Justin Jefferson's been amazing. Sam Darnold has looked like a top 3 pick, like how he was supposed to look when he came out. Vikings, man.
Okay, the Steelers haven't necessarily played like the Chiefs every week, but the Steelers are 3-0, and this victory this past weekend over the Chargers at home included Justin Fields going 25 of 32 for 245 yards and a touchdown. And again, are they an AFC contender? Probably not, but Mike Tomlin always has his team in position to make the postseason. They will again, off to a 3-0 start. I think probably even for Steeler fans, it's a little bit surprising with their quarterback situation, though, to be 3-0. So that to me is a really good start.
Justin Fields hasn't had one turnover this year.
Well, he threw a pick yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he did.
He's got one.
Oh,
Yeah.
one turnover in 3 games.
Does a pick count?
That's really good for that's really good for him. And their defense is incredible.
Right. And again, have they really played elite teams? Falcons, Chargers. Who else they beat? Denver.
Broncos,
I don't know if
I
they've
think.
played elite offenses, but yeah, they've been very good. Next question.
What should the Pac-12 do next with expansion?
Good question.
Create a time machine. I don't know.
What's that going to do?
Well, it's going to do nothing. At this point in time, you get Utah State. What other school are they going to go get? I don't know. I truthfully don't know. Gonzaga feels like a must. Like, you got to figure a way out to get Gonzaga. I just hope Gonzaga's not too turned off by, the other, like Memphis and Tulane.
Does Gonzaga want to play Memphis and Tulane? Do they want to travel or do they want money? I don't know what Gonzaga's goals are. They've been in the West Coast Conference for so long.
Right.
I have no idea. That I just don't know. Do they want to play UTSA or do they not? I don't know. Do they want
John,
money?
Mr. College Football Realignment, what do you think the Pac-12 should do?
I think I'd probably, first of all, there's a lot of pressure on the Mountain West right now. If they they've lost 5 programs in a week. So can they keep the rest of the conference in order? In addition to that, you're probably thinking about the state of Texas. Can you go in there and get potentially an 8th school? I don't think you reach here. I think you get to maybe 8 or 9 football schools, then you wait. And I think you're fine with Oregon State, Washington State, Boise State, San Diego State. I don't think you need to reach. So I think you go get an 8th football program. They've got a number of options. And from there, I think you wait a little bit to see how all this settles. All right, call right now if you want tickets to Green Day. Saturday at Petco Park, 2 free tickets. Amazing giveaway. The number to call, 877-767-4760. Again, call right now if you want 2 free tickets to Green Day, 877-767-4760. First 2 callers will be contestants for trivia. We'll do trivia up next right here on Jon and Jim. All right, lower mortgage rates are finally here. Hey, guys, it's Schaefer, and that's thanks to the Fed and Loan Pronto. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.59% APR, the lowest in 2 years. Whether you got stuck with your loan maybe in the last month or even within the last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto and dump that high-rate loan. You can lock in a lower rate fast with virtually no paperwork and usually no appraisal. There's no limit on how many times you can refi, so get started. Use this opportunity to get cash out and wipe out your credit cards. You can do a cash out refi and get 50, 75, 100 grand or more out of your home. Use that to pay off all your high interest debt and end up with just one low monthly payment. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Purchase loans available as well. So call now, get your rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. VA Streamline loans are also available with Loan Pronto. Call 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. 619-207-4336, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLS consumeraccess.org. iHeartRadio Music Festival T-Mobile Arena in Vegas was amazing. Check out the photos, videos, and behind-the-scenes backstage content now at iHeartRadio.com/festival. Stream it out only on Charley Blackmon is retired, thankfully.
It's about time.
Can
Now,
he do one more? Can he
Does
do
this
one
mean
more?
is he going to shave now?
Maybe. But can he maybe hit against the Dodgers next weekend? Because I'm assuming he's retiring at the end of the season as opposed to today.
I'm assuming so
I think
because
he's got 6 more games.
I'm gonna guess he announced this, so the final Rockies home games will be
They
like
can
a
celebrate him.
thank you, Charley Blackmon.
14 years, all with the Rockies, 4-time All-Star, Padre killer.
Just National League West killer.
More Padres than anyone else.
Way
right?
more
Most home
Padres,
runs in his
yeah.
career against the Padres than anyone else.
He hit a big time home run over the weekend though to
He
help the
did.
Padres out.
He
So
did.
thanks, Charley Blackmon.
Thanks, Charlie, for
Thanks,
all that you've done
Charlie.
for the Padres, which is
Thanks,
basically nothing
Charlie.
for 14 years. All right, back to the Padres. This huge series coming up tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium. But right now, let's get to this.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Tommy and we have Dan. Tommy, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Give me Jim.
All right.
Tommy and Jim.
Tommy and Jim, Dan and John. Dan, you there?
Yep, Dan with Aztec John, right on.
Right
There we
on.
go, Dan.
All right. Brent, what is the question of the day?
All right, guys, the Commanders face the Bengals tonight on one of our Monday Night Football games. Today's question, can you name the 7 quarterbacks in Washington franchise history that have thrown for 10,000 or more passing yards? So we're looking for Washington franchise quarterbacks that have thrown for 10,000 or more passing yards.
Okay. Dan, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
So we're talking the Commanders and the Washington, the old Redskins, right? Combo.
Correct.
Yep.
Dump that. I'm kidding.
So give me Mark Ripien.
Mark
Ripien.
What's Mark Rippon?
Mark
That's
Rippon.
fine. Yeah. It's even
Tommy,
before Jim's time, apparently.
you're up. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Give me Joe Theismann.
Joe Theismann.
Joe Theismann. Okay.
Dan, back to you. Second guess. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to use the lifeline
That's
at
me?
this moment.
Is that me or you?
That's you.
Sonny Jurgensen.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with Sonny.
So little note, believe it or not, here's a crazy fact. I was a Redskins season ticket holder. So my dad lived in DC. Redskins tickets, Capitals tickets, Bullets tickets. Yeah. Little known fact.
Whatever happened to you being a Clippers season ticket holder?
I was before the pandemic.
And then you just
I dropped.
Yeah,
I lost
smart.
a lot of money.
It's like me today.
Exactly.
Tommy, back to you. What's your second guess? And you do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Oh my gosh, this is so hard.
You have a lifeline if you want, Tommy.
All right, give me the lifeline. You think you got it?
I think I do, and I'm going to give you Kirk Cousins. Do you take
for
that?
sure. How was I blanking on that? Kirk Cousins, you're the man, Jim.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well done, Jim.
All right. Dan, back to you. Final guess. You don't have a lifeline, so it's all to you.
Man, I don't know. Kirk Cousins.
I just said Kirk Cousins, so pick someone else.
Oh, shit. Heath Schuler.
Heath Schuler, is he on the list? No.
All right. I'm just gonna say it. When we're doing the game, guys, you're on live radio, so please refrain
from cursing.
Because
you're not allowed to.
Because you're not allowed to. Okay. So just a heads up there. We're on live radio. Okay. Tommy, back to you. What's your final guess? You don't have a lifeline. What do you got?
Give me the first black man to ever win the Super Bowl as a starting quarterback, Doug Williams.
Doug, my boy, Williams.
I was gonna say, no, that was just a run.
No.
Okay.
Tiny runs. Now we're going to overtime. Brent, what is the rules of overtime in the question?
All right, the way overtime is going to work is I'm going to ask you guys another question. When I'm done asking the question, whoever yells out the name of their partner first is you're going to yell either John or Jim. Don't yell the answer. Whoever yells out the name of their partner first, you're either going to win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting the question wrong. Do you guys understand?
Yes.
Okay. Today's overtime question. Name a team playing in either of the Monday Night Football games tonight.
Jim,
John.
I heard Jim.
I heard Jim.
Cincinnati Bungles.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincinnati, is that? Well, you said either game, right?
I
That's
said either
correct
one,
for
that's
the
right,
win.
yeah.
All right, that is correct for the win. That was a complete train wreck.
Complete train
complete
wreck.
and utter train wreck.
And dude almost swore again.
I literally
Yes.
From here on out, if you swear, it's an automatic loss.
Automatic
I don't
L.
care if you're up 2-0 and the other person's never even heard of sports before. If you swear, you lose.
automatic L. I mean,
Unless you're Jim.
guys, come on. You know radio etiquette here. All right, it's not hard.
It's all good. The world's gonna keep spinning.
It's
They
all
didn't mean to do
fine.
It happens
It's all
in
fine.
those settings. It does happen.
No, I
You're just
get
like,
it.
Oh shoot!
I get it.
You know?
I get it. But come on.
We're gonna keep
we're-
doing the game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay.
All right, congratulations to our winner, whoever that is. Well, who else is on this list?
All right, Theismann's number 1, Jurgensen's 2, Sammy Baugh is 3, Kirk Cousins is 4, Mark Rippon was 5, Billy Keimer is 6, and Jason Campbell.
Auburn
number
great.
7.
Jason
Yeah.
Yeah, remember Jason Campbell? He had a couple of good
I
years.
do remember Jason Campbell.
All right, congratulations because you've won tickets to see Green Day with the Smashing Pumpkins, Rancid, and more Petco Park this Saturday. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. We'll have more tickets for you later this week for that Green Day concert. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, your chance to win tickets to the Miramar Air Show coming up later this month. And also on the other side, it's as big of a regular season series as the Padres have had since when? We'll start with that. Padres-Dodgers tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium. We'll get you ready on the other side on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by the Haunted Trail of Balboa Park. Padres, they have an off day today. They have 6 games remaining in their regular season. They start a 3-game series with the Dodgers tomorrow night, and they trail the Dodgers by 3 games in the National League West. And tonight, Monday Night Football, Week 3 concludes with a doubleheader. Right now, you have the Buffalo Bills taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Buffalo leads the Jags 13-0. And later tonight, Bengals and Commanders. The Haunted Trail of Balboa Park opens September 27th. CNN named the Haunted Trail in the top 5 best haunted attractions in America. Do you have the guts? Get your spot in line reserved now as busy nights sell out fast at hauntedtrail.net. Parking is free.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour, Jon and Jim. We have Miramar Air Show tickets, Jim, to give away. We also remind you the Aztecs are back Saturday after a week off. They're on the road, Central Michigan. What town is that in? I'll give you $1 million. That'll pay for your computer. You have no clue. Pre-game with Fletch and Jared Tolver starts at 10:30 a.m. Rich and I have the kickoff at 12:30 Pacific right here in your home of the Aztecs, San Diego Sports 760. Do not Google it. Do not Google it.
Well, I know it's in Michigan, but I don't know what town it's in.
He knows it's
Name
in Michigan.
any town in Michigan besides Ann Arbor or Detroit.
Pleasanton.
First of all, you cheated, and it's Mount Pleasant.
Oh, Pleasant.
But nobody would know that.
Mount Pleasant. Who cares?
Well, that's why I offer. It was trivia. It's like Trainwreck Radio.
If you didn't, never mind.
Okay, never mind. So we'll give away Miramar Air Show tickets. Padres Dodgers game 1 of a 3-game series tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. Padres still alive, controlling their own destiny. Michael King starts for the Padres. You know who's facing?
Who?
Obviously, right-hander Landon Knack.
Yeah, that guy.
So Landon Knack, Michael King. Padres, like you said, have really owned the Dodgers this year. They've won a season series from LA for the first time since 2010. Needing a win to stay alive for a chance to win the division and remain mathematically alive, maybe for the best record in the National League. I mean, can they really close like this? What have they won? 4 straight overall?
They've won
Padres?
4 straight overall, and they've won 6 of 7.
If they win 6 more in a row, they're going to be the top seed in the National League. Now, that's a huge ask, going to Dodger Stadium, going to Phoenix to take on the Diamondbacks, but that's where we are. You win the next 6, they'll be the top seed in the National League, would be my guess.
They're 13-5 this month. It's really good.
Right? 40-16 in their last 56.
I think they're playing their best baseball right now, even though you could, if you want to say, oh, they put the White Sox, okay, but they're still a Major League Baseball team, even though they have 120 losses.
Every other team's played them.
So you got to get the job done, and they got the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when like you go into a series, you knowing that you're the better team and knowing that like we got a sweep here, sometimes it doesn't happen. Even though the White Sox have literally gotten swept how many times this year?
Right.
So they won a series against the Houston Astros, really good team. They won a series against the Detroit Tigers, who are like steamrolling their way to the postseason right now. And now they face the Dodgers, who have played really well. And they're going to face Arizona. Like their postseason has started right now. The teams that they will play for the rest of the year are all postseason teams.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Dodgers starting tomorrow night, Diamondbacks this weekend, and whoever they face in the opening wild card round starting next Tuesday.
Mets close with who? Because they're tied. The Mets,
Braves, I think.
and Diamondbacks.
No, they play the Braves starting tomorrow, Brent.
Okay, so they have the Braves in there, and who else do they have?
The Mets. Let me just pull this up here. They take on Milwaukee on
That's
the road.
tough.
Now, Milwaukee just got their ass kicked by the D-backs, even though they had an historic comeback yesterday to not be completely embarrassed.
So, but my point is this. And do we know who is the Mets Diamondbacks tiebreaker? We've gone through this before.
I don't know.
My point is they're tied.
I think the Mets do because if the playoffs started right now, the Mets would face
would be
the
the 5.
Padres. Yeah.
So that's my thing. I don't think that's I don't know what to say about that, Jim. I really don't. I mean, it's a little bit of pick your poison like all these teams. You say, hey, I want to face the Mets, and you're like, oh, here we go again, 2022, revenge. They played well against you in the regular season. But if you say, oh, I want to play the Diamondbacks offense, their second half, there's no like guarantee out of those two.
I'm going to pull a Skip Schumacher line and talking about respecting the game.
Right.
And letting the baseball god, don't want to upset the baseball gods. From that standpoint, we can talk about that, about
sure,
who should they face inside that clubhouse. I don't think that is being uttered at all.
They still think they're going to win the division, which they should.
And if you get to this weekend, we talked about the scenario, and it's a real possibility. You control who you face in the wild card round, depending on what you do this weekend. Like you could lose 2 or 3, and you could win 2 or 3 versus the D-backs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more of a possibility to happen than them winning the division, honestly.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Here's the most likely scenario: 4 seed.
Correct.
From there, what's the most likely scenario? Either the Mets or the Diamondbacks. You could argue that. I mean, there's still a scenario where they're not the 4th seed. I mean, we're talking about this week like, hey, go 5-1, go 6-0. They're playing, to your point, good teams. What if you don't play well? You're on the road. You lose 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. You lose 2 out of 3 to the Diamondbacks. You could fall the 5 seed, Jim. You're only 2 games up on it, right? They're 2 games up on that 5 seed,
yeah,
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have the tiebreaker from the Mets. So, like, yeah, you're a good week away from the 1 seed. Well, guess what? You're a bad week away from the 5 seed.
Yeah, you lose 2 or 3 at Dodger Stadium, and you lose 2 or 3 to the D-backs here. You have a 2-4 road trip,
and someone goes 4-2.
You could be the 6th seed. Now, the 6th seed wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because if you're looking at teams that scare me the most, like the tier list, the bottom of that list is Milwaukee. It just is.
Mm-hmm.
And the top of that list, to me, is the Mets, the Phillies, and then you got the Dodgers and the D-backs, and then the bottom is the Brewers. They're all good teams, obviously.
Wait, did you tier those, or did you say Mets over Phillies?
I tiered them.
Mets and Phillies in one tier?
Yeah.
Dodgers,
D-backs
in one tier, Brewers in the last tier?
Yeah.
It's an interesting way to look at it. I don't know if I would have put the Mets in the same tier with the Phillies. Maybe just against you, you're saying? Against the Padres?
Yeah. I'm not talking about best team. If you're talking about tiers, and it's Phillies, Dodgers.
Yeah.
And you, by the way, it's Phillies, Dodgers, and the Padres. That's the top tier in the National League.
Mm-hmm.
Followed by the Mets and the D-backs,
and
in
then
my
the Brewers.
opinion, and then the Brewers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's how that's how the National League shapes out. But,
do the Dodgers deserve top tier billing?
Yeah, they do.
Just they do have the most wins in the National League at 93. Yeah.
And they have Ohtani and
true, their pitching is a question.
Now, when you look at the bracket, like when I just look at it on paper, because baseball bracket's weird. If you are the lowest seed, you don't just automatically go face the 1 seed. That's just kind of weird. But if I'm looking at the bracket and where the Padres are at right now, they would have to go through the Mets. Like if it just ended today, the Mets and the Dodgers and the Phillies potentially to get to the World Series. That's a tough road. The Mets are one of the hottest teams in baseball, along with you, by the way. I mean, you kind of match that, but the Mets have, I think, matched you in record over this month.
Right.
And then the Dodgers and Phillies.
As opposed to, it's interesting what you said. If you did somehow go through the 6 route, which, by the way, I don't think is likely, nor the ideal scenario to play out over the next week.
Right.
But you're right. If you went through, could you even, it's still the same thing other than maybe the Brewers. You're still going to see the Phillies or the Dodgers or both.
Yeah, it'd be Milwaukee and the Dodgers. The only thing is the Milwaukee standpoint.
Right. I mean, this goes back to the initial point on the National League. It is so wide open.
Yeah.
Any of these teams could reach the World Series. I'm with you. I'd be shocked if the Milwaukee Brewers are in the World Series. The other 5 teams, if someone told me tomorrow the Phillies are in the World Series, are you shocked? No. Are you shocked if the Padres are in the World Series? No. Are you shocked if the Dodgers are in the World Series? No. Diamondbacks last year were in the World Series. I wouldn't find it overly shocking. Brewers
Mets?
is the one. Yeah. Mets, is that overly shocking? Brewers to me would be a surprise. I think the other 5 teams have I could make a case for them getting there, and it wouldn't be surprising.
In the last couple of years, we've always talked about who's the hottest team, and 3 out of the 4 times, the hottest team made the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
right? Texas, even actually, I take that back. Texas wasn't hot going into the postseason. I don't think. I think they actually missed out on an opportunity to win the division.
I think you're right.
And then they just flipped that switch. Bruce Bochy, they went on an amazing run.
I thought you were about to curse.
No, I was not going to curse.
Okay.
But the Diamondbacks and the Phillies, those two teams, they've started playing good baseball at the right time.
The Rangers are 2-5 in the last 7.
Yeah, so they were not playing well, and they missed out on the division
by like a game.
Yeah,
yeah,
and then they went through Houston.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, right now in the National League, you have the D-backs. Sorry, you have the Mets, the Padres, the Dodgers, the D-backs over the course of the last couple months, like 4 teams that have been playing out of their mind to get to where they are right now. And so that's another reason why this whole thing is just completely wide open, because it's not just one team making a charge. It's realistically, you got 3 teams here. I would love to go back and see what the standings were, when we said, oh yeah, the 82 wins is going to get you in. I think the Braves
I think
the Braves were leading
they were the top wild card. Yep.
I think the Reds were in there at one point.
Pittsburgh was in there at a game or two over 500.
The Giants at some point
and
were
San
in there.
Diego was 50-50.
Chicago, the Cubs were in there. St. Louis was kind of pushing.
A credit to these teams. I thought this thing would be a war of attrition and just someone inevitably lands in there. That is not how this played out. There's some teams that have played brilliant baseball. Arizona's included. San Diego's included in there. The Mets are like, these teams have played well.
We thought 83 wins was going to get you in. 90 wins is like the minimum.
What's the 6th seed right now?
87 and 69.
So those teams are going to win another, like you said, 3 more games.
Yeah.
You go 3-3, you're going to need 90 wins.
Minimum.
That's amazing.
Potentially in the postseason mix.
We have more crazy realignment on the other side. Does it impact the Pac-12 or not? And San Diego State, we'll share it with you coming up next. Plus tickets to the Miramar Air Show. It's Jon and Jim. Let's open the talkback mic. Just open the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to San Diego Sports 760. Tap that little microphone icon next to the play button. Salute the 30-second talkback. What did I say now? Wait all to figure itself out when it comes to realignment. It has been an epic realignment day. I've covered college athletics or been a fan of college athletics for forever, and there have been some epic realignment days. There was a day where the Pac-12 nearly took half of the Big 12, including Texas and Oklahoma, a decade plus ago. There have been crazy days, Big 10, expansion, and so on and so forth. Today is right up there. So at this hour, Jim, there are at least 3 or 4 college football insiders reporting Utah State to the Pac-12 is a done deal. We talked about this within the hour.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, well, hold on. They were interested in Memphis and Tulane and had some other things like Gonzaga. Okay, but what else? And I said, well, just wait on this. We heard earlier UNLV was going to recommit to the Mountain West if all 8 of the Mountain West schools were going to commit. But Utah State isn't committing. So the 8 Mountain West is down to 7, which is really 6 because of Hawaii. They don't even play all their sports in the Mountain West. They only play football. So Pete Thamel at ESPN has said that in the wake of Utah State's commitment, UNLV is going to huddle tonight to determine their next steps. And then, but wait, there's more. Ross Dellinger reporting, he broke the story about San Diego State to the Pac-12. He's reporting that the Pac-12 continues to have conversations with Gonzaga for basketball and UConn for football. So Gonzaga for basketball, UConn. You say, well, UConn's in the East. How could you do that? Well, you only play 4 road games.
Could you also theoretically set up like a scheduling with the basketball team for like for parts of your conference?
Yes, because what you can do in the deal is say, here's the deal. We're going to give you X dollars and you're going to be a football member, but let's guarantee to, and I'm making this up, but this is at least a possibility. You could say, let's guarantee to 2 games a year against Pac-12 basketball teams.
I know if you get Gonzaga, then you got Gonzaga and San Diego State there.
Yeah, and you say, you know what? You got to play 2 teams a year, and this year you're playing Gonzaga and Utah State. Next year you're playing San Diego State and Oregon State. I'm making it up.
Yeah.
One of them at home, one of them on the road, one of them neutral, one of them at home. That's, I would think, a possibility.
So if, you know, and I've seen like Mark Ziegler put out a piece, I haven't read it yet, about like Utah State. What? But like, tell me if this makes sense.
Okay.
Because you're way better at this than I am. It feels like with the reports now of UNLV huddling tonight, right? By the new Pac-12 taking Utah State, you have made now the Mountain West Conference down to 7 schools. Not enough. They need one more. So now that feels like a chess move to like, okay, if we're not going to get UNLV or we're not going to be able to get the Memphis and the Tulanes of the world, we're just going to ruin the Mountain West. And we're going to take a school that we know is going to come. Might not be the sexiest. Definitely isn't the sexiest, right? Basketball. I mean, no, basketball has done really well of late.
Been in the tournament a ton since we've been carrying Aztec games, right?
But we're going to do this chess move because this will be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and then we can go and swoop in UNLV.
I think you could be spot on. I think you could be spot on because what the Mountain West was promising these schools that stayed, not the San Diego States, right? But what they were telling Air Force and UNLV, what we've heard, San Jose State, right, whatever, New Mexico, was, hey, stay together. We'll use the exit fee money from San Diego State, Boise State, et cetera. And we can build back, or we'll just give you one-time lump sums. You might be worried about your future revenues with television. Here's $10 million. Here's $12 million. This is going to make you whole, so to speak. But now that Utah State is out, like, what are you committing to?
Because you don't have 8 schools.
And where's their 8th school going to be? Where's their 9th school going to be? And so on and so forth. Where
it's a game of chess right now.
So now maybe UNLV is the school that holds the cards. I mean, is it a leverage play? Can UNLV get more from the Mountain West? Can UNLV get more from the Pac-12?
This is definitely not plan A, maybe not even plan B, but
it's becoming a pretty interesting plan, truthfully.
It is interesting. And if things shape out with the new Pac-12, their football having, let's just say, Oregon State, Washington State, Fresno, Boise, San Diego, Colorado State, Utah State. I'm just going to go UNLV, and I'm going to go UConn. That's 9.
And that gives you 8 conference games.
Yes. And then you add Gonzaga as a basketball school and add Grand Canyon as a basketball school as well.
Boom.
You have 12.
No, you didn't do the math right.
No, you have 11. Sorry.
11, but it's only 10 for basketball because
Right.
UConn would play in the Big East.
And UConn's a football. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd have 10 for basketball. Perfect.
Mhm.
That's 9 times 2 for conference games, 18. Perfect.
Yep.
And you have 9 for football. Perfect. You have 8 conference games, 4 at home, 4 on the road. And if you're UConn, you say, how could UConn join the Pac-12? It's 4 road games.
Mhm.
It's not the end of the world.
No.
San Diego State's at Central Michigan this weekend.
Right.
Cal and Stanford were in, where were they? Syracuse and Tallahassee.
Right.
This weekend. It's the modern world of college athletics.
Yeah. UCLA and Stanford and Cal have to travel across the country
Yep.
every
SC was
every
at
other week.
Michigan this weekend.
Right. So that's just the new life of college athletics. And it's not pretty. It's not, if UConn is just football only, that's not the end of the world. Cause you're not
No.
being like, oh, our volleyball team has to travel across the country on a Tuesday night.
No,
like
they
it is
would
with the Big
stay in
Ten
the Big
now
East.
and the ACC.
By the way, UConn football, I'll tell you why it makes a ton of sense. And now they haven't been very good. They're independent.
Right.
Do you want to stay out there in the wilderness as an independent? Or do you want to join a collection of teams that if you win the league, you have access to the college football playoff by winning that league? For me, if you're UConn, that's a no-brainer. I'd rather be in the Pac-12 than be an independent out east. So
there we go. We fixed it.
Wild day.
We've created the new Pac-12.
Perfect league.
Not the perfect league. It's not plan A, but it's something that gets done. And if you added UNLV, you got Utah State, you add UConn in football. It's not the sexiest. It's not what plans,
Honestly, dude,
really
from
wanted.
Where they had Oregon State and Washington State were left for nothing.
Mm-hmm. And I think what really this conference hinges on is can they pull Gonzaga? They can pull Gonzaga. I think that alone from a basketball standpoint and just being in the conference, I know they don't have football, but just from a basketball standpoint, that alone lifts it up more than I think a Memphis or a Tulane would or a UTSA. Like Gonzaga is the real deal in the basketball part of this equation, and you pair them with San Diego State in a conference. Oof, that's like the best conference on the West Coast basketball wise.
100%.
Not even close.
Not even close. And by the way, if they get UNLV as well, you've put together a darn good basketball league. Utah State is in a ton. Colorado State's been in a ton. Boise State, each of the last 3 years. They put together a very good basketball league. I know this. I will not go to sleep tonight until there's resolution.
Well, luckily there's no wrap-up show and no Padres game, so
Perfect.
you can just do nothing but conference
just stare at my phone.
Yes.
Perfect.
Awesome.
John has the IV of Celsius all ready to go.
Dude, that's a good point. I might buy one on the way home, and I've already had one today. All right, coming up next, we're giving away tickets to the Miramar Air Show. We have Jim's back page ahead. We're getting you ready for a critical week for the Padres, the final week of the regular season. Stay with us. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim, and tonight is the perfect night to get to Crumbl Casino. Football is just underway. There's the doubleheader. Games going on all night. If you get to Crumbl Casino this football season, make sure to join them every single Monday night here in September. You've got a chance to win big with Monday Night Live $100,000 Punch-Out.
Yeah, with 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m., your odds are better than ever. Plus, you can earn entries all month long by playing and getting two-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners. A chance to win up to $100,000 in cash.
So 2 weeks ago, we were over at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub. Jim had an amazing burger. I had an amazing salad. In addition to Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, they have so many great food options, including endless dining 5 nights a week. Endless dining options include Saturday surf and turf buffet. They've gone over the top with perfect combinations of succulent steaks, delectable seafood, and more.
Yeah, get to Crumbl Casino all football season long, including every Monday night for Monday Night Live $100,000 Punch-Out. Crumbl Casino, it's fun above all else. All right, this update is brought to you by the Haunted Trail of Balboa Park. Padres off day today. They finished off a sweep of the White Sox yesterday. They've reached 90 wins for the first time since 2010. The magic number to clinch a playoff spot is technically 1. So if they win tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium, they will punch their ticket to the postseason. Officially, they're 3 games back of the Dodgers with 6 to play. Moving over to college football realignment, crazy day. It's become official here moments ago. Utah State has accepted a bid to join the new Pac-12. UNLV will be huddling tonight to go over their options. Earlier today in the AAC, Memphis, Tulane, USF, and UTSA all announced they are staying in that conference. So we will see what happens in the next coming days. The Haunted Trail of Balboa Park opens September 27th. CNN named the Haunted Trail in the top 5 best haunted attractions in America. Do you have the guts, John? Get your spot in line reserved now, as busy nights sell out fast at hauntedtrail.net. Parking is free.
Keep up with San Diego Sports 760 anytime, anywhere, whether you're stepping out to the car or settling in at home. Just attach your Google or Alexa smart speaker to play AM 760 or stream it live through the iHeartRadio app. It's never been easier. Stay connected with the chosen this way. San Diego Sports 760 goes where you go. By the way, within 10 minutes, we'll give away Miramar Air Show tickets.
I have a fun. I probably should save this to the back page, actually. Never mind.
Nice tease.
That's great.
I have a really fun spot to go in San Diego that's open until November 10th. I didn't even realize this thing was open, but me and Aaron went to it this past weekend, and I'll tell you more about that coming up in the back page.
Oh, yeah, the Instagram thing?
Yeah. Wait, there you go. Yeah, just say what
as if people are just waiting in their driveway.
They gave it away. The Instagram thing was
Instagram
too much information.
By the way, Jim made an interesting comment. No, nobody knows what I'm talking about.
I know, but what comment did I make?
No, what comment? You made a comment off air saying the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. I think is what you said. So they're 2-0. They're playing the Jags at home, which is like playing. I mean, come on, they're playing the Jags at home. They're favorites. And they've got a big lead. What is it? 20-3, 21-3?
21-3.
21-3. So a big lead on their way to 3-0 here tonight. Now, you said before the season, you kind of like the Bills. Everyone likes Kansas City, but you kind of like the Bills maybe to emerge. I mean, how are you feeling right now? 3-0. Are you serious when you say Super Bowl?
I feel
over
good.
KC, which again is kind of just
Kansas
found
City,
their way.
They're frauds. I mean, they are, dude.
Frauds though.
3-0, and the 3 wins have been some of the luckiest types of wins you can imagine.
Frauds is the regular season. You know they're going to be there in the postseason.
I know, but I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl again.
Okay.
My thing last night was the Falcons offensive coordinator should be fired. I don't care what surgery Kirk Cousins
play with that on 4th down.
Well, exactly. I don't care if Kirk Cousins had his leg amputated in the offseason. You get up there and you run that quarterback sneak and get that inch.
He ran to the outside.
Yeah, and then he runs.
Gap was wide open.
Yeah, then they run that, QT. That was like a Matt Nagy play right there. Of
very demure.
Hey, we only need like half an inch. Let's run a triple reverse wide receiver option with the game on the line.
Yeah. Well, the 3 wins the Chiefs have this year are because Isaiah Likely's big toe touched out of bounds.
True.
Last week where they got a gift PI call that
was not a gift PI call at all. It was classic pass interference. What was the gift?
And then this
week
week
got there 3 seconds early.
And then this week, this week,
yeah, exactly.
Kyle Pitts gets mugged in the end zone.
Yes, he did.
And they don't call it.
It happens.
Yeah, but then they single-handedly took Atlanta down the field and gave them the opportunity to win the game, and Atlanta blew it
up, and the Falcons did blow it. I agree.
But hear me out. It doesn't matter. They're 3-0, and they have Patrick Mahomes, and the other teams don't.
Yeah, and they're not.
And all they got to do is get it. They just have to get in.
I know. Trust me. I know.
And they will be in. You agree?
I know.
They will be favored when they're in a lot.
They're gonna get. They're gonna be favored, and Mahomes can play like crap.
Yeah.
And they still can find ways to win because they're just on that type of run, which is just so freaking annoying.
You know what? They kind of remind me of that Shaq and Kobe team. Remember when they didn't give 2 S's about the regular season? Mm-hmm. They just kind of coasted through. And then once it got to be out a week or 2 out from the playoffs, then they'd actually kind of start to try, and then they'd play better because they didn't really care about the regular season. They were all about the playoffs.
It's right. It's hard to get. They've won back-to-back Super Bowls. You're not getting up for every game you play. You've won. No team has ever won 3 straight Super Bowls. You think they're pumped about week 2? They're thinking about week 22. They're not getting up for week 2 like the other teams are. They don't care about week 2. 7 teams in each conference make the postseason. Kansas City, just pencil them in. Just wait for January.
Yep. But my point is, I think the Bills, the way they've played so far and the way Josh Allen has looked, I mean, he's 15 for 19 for 172 and 3 touches already, or 2 touches.
I think it's a 2.
I just think they are poised to finally get
Break
over
through.
that.
Yeah.
Finally.
They're so due for that.
They are. It's just like at some point, it feels like they have to eventually break through. Ravens, they kind of course corrected a little bit with their win over the Cowboys yesterday. I think the Chargers are frauds. I think they're done. I don't consider them to be an elite team in the AFC.
You didn't think they were elite either way. So I don't know if they were frauds because they were never expected to be like a top 2 seed.
All I heard was Mr. Colin Cowherd from 9 to noon on San Diego Sports 760 talk about how much he loves Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers, and they can win 11 games this year. Give me a break.
Well, I think people do love Jim Harbaugh. I think saying that they're going to be like a top 2 or 3 seed was problem. I don't know if anyone has actually said that.
Colin thinks they're going to win 11, 12 games.
11 or 12, that's a lot.
I know, and that's what he said.
But they could win 9.
Where Colin's always wrong.
They could win 9. They could be a playoff team.
But Justin Herbert's now hurt. Slater's hurt. Joe Alt's now hurt with MCL strain.
Look at your team.
Yeah, they suck too. I wasn't talking about my team.
I know, but I'm just saying the teams deal with injuries.
I know. And I'm looking at teams that are right now, and that's early, 3 weeks in, but like
AFC contenders?
AFC contenders. Would you agree on this? AFC contenders. Bills, Chiefs, Texans. I got to put Baltimore in there just because they aren't injured, even though they're 1 and 2.
So there's no world.
Those are to me the top 4 in the AFC.
There's no world where the Texans are in the Super Bowl. So stop it now. There's no world with it. So just hear me out. Let's use that premise. Okay. Do you believe a world exists in 2025, this February, where the Houston Texans run out of a tunnel in a Super Bowl? Do you believe that will exist in any part of your heart?
There's a tiny
exactly.
bit.
So eliminate them. It's down to Chiefs. Now, just eliminate them. It's impossible.
They're going to be in the mix.
It's going to be either the Chiefs or the Bills or
don't
the
look
Ravens.
At me. I don't think they're going to be in the mix
They're
either.
not
I'm with
be
John.
In the mix. Oh, come on.
They're going to be in the mix. They're going to win their division.
They won't be in the Super Bowl.
I never said they were going to be. I said in the mix.
Contenders in the Super Bowl.
They're contenders.
They're not.
They're not going to be an easy out for the Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills or the Ravens. But
will those 3 teams all be favored on a neutral field over Houston, even if we fast forward 3 months?
Probably. I mean, maybe. I mean,
that's my point.
Okay, I think you're down. I think you're too low on the Texans, but that's
Texans never win anything. It's like some franchises just don't win.
That's great.
They don't.
But they have really good players in their team, and they have a really good head coach, and they have a up and coming star quarterback. And they have really good offensive weapons.
The Chargers have Jim Harbaugh.
Okay, it's great.
Exactly.
But, okay, those are my 4 teams in the AFC.
Right. So I think there's 3, but my point is Kansas City is one of them.
They are, just because they have Mahomes.
Now, who's your NFC contender list?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now, my NFC contender list is the Minnesota Vikings.
You love the Vikings.
I really do.
Yeah.
I love me some KO. Brian Flores, too, at DC. Really good. I can't put the Seahawks in there, even though they're 3-0. I can't with Geno Smith. I just can't. I'm not putting the Niners in because they don't deserve it.
I mean, you can't put the Eagles in.
I'm not putting the Eagles in there. That was a dreadful game yesterday that I somehow figured out to win.
You're right. Can you put the Lions in there? They have not been sexy.
They lost Sam Laporta yesterday, though.
Can you put the Packers in there? No. I don't think.
I mean, the Packers have looked good even without Jordan Love.
Will no team make the Super
Xavier McKinney's been really good pickup.
Will no team make the Super Bowl in the NFC?
Someone will make the Super Bowl. But that's the point, is like the AFC is superior to the NFC.
Who's the front runner in Vegas? NFC odds to get to the Super Bowl.
I think the Niners have had to fall off that
list.
No Christian McCaffrey. They just lost Jordan Hargrave for the year today.
They might.
Kittle's out. Debo's always hurt. Brandon Ayuk sucks. Trent Williams is out of shape.
They've got the second best odds.
Well,
plus 700.
I would not take those if
at
you
FanDuel.
offer me.
Chiefs plus 450. Niners plus 700. Bills plus 900.
Nope.
There's your top 3.
take those Niners by week 10 will be off that list.
I'm going to quote you on that,
Maybe
my friend.
sooner.
Jim, they have better odds for the Jets to win the Super Bowl than the Texans.
Jets can't
Stop.
be real, right?
I'm serious.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they?
Seriously?
All right.
For futures bets,
Yeah.
NFL championship winner odds, they got Chiefs, Niners, Bills, Lions, Eagles, Ravens, then the Jets, then
Okay.
Texans.
Do they watch football?
Well, they honestly, it's more based maybe on betting than watching football. I mean, money might be coming in because of Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. All right, there's your contender list.
They're 2-1.
Yeah, which is fine. It's completely fine. Okay, here's
Yeah,
what we're gonna
just
do.
to mess with you today, I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find it. I was gonna be like, do you know how many teams start 1-3 that actually make the playoffs? But I couldn't find it. They only do 1 and 2 teams. They don't care about 1 and 3.
If they lose next week to the Patriots, the Niners, I might not.
Eagle fan for
I
life.
might just stop watching them this year. I'll just watch like
They're not
Red
going to lose to
Zone
the
and
Patriots.
I'll just like do something else on my Sundays.
And if they beat the Patriots, they're going to be like the favorite to get out of the NFC in 2024. All right, call right now if you want 2 free tickets to the Miramar Air Show for September 29th, 877-767-4760. Caller 3, those are your tickets. 2 free tickets to the Miramar Air Show, 877-767-4760. Caller 3, they're yours. Admission and parking free. Experience the Wall of Fire, the F-22 Raptor demo team, and the Blue Angels plus static displays featuring military and civilian aircraft. Preferred seating and show details at MiramarAirshow.com. That's MiramarAirshow.com. We have 2 free grandstand seats for September 29th. 877-767-4760. Jim's back page is next. All right, Jim's back page coming up here momentarily. We didn't touch on the CJ Abrams story. I don't find it a particularly good story, honestly. I really don't like the story. He was gaming at 8 a.m. Like he was at the casino. 8 in the morning. He then reported for a day game, and then they demoted him because of his actions, which to me something more than has to be. Yeah, I mean, it's well past. I think even in Major League Baseball, there are some team-like processes. Like a day game, you can't be out until 8 in the morning. Okay. So maybe they're, I guess, are they proving when he's also and okay, and he's a grown man. There's guys that have done very similar things. Like if you follow the course of Major League Baseball, so there's guys that play drunk, there's guys that play on drugs. There's guys that have made poor decisions. That demoting him because he's at a casino at 8 in the morning. If you, listener, and everybody, you guys knew half the stuff that these dudes did in their free time. Yeah, what CJ Abrams did would be considered like minor.
Very, very minor.
And again, I get it. I mean, there are rules. I'm not saying stay out till 8 in the morning when you have a game at 1 the next day. That probably isn't ideal, but is there some guarantee that because he's at a casino at 8 a.m. he can't have 2 hits the next game? No, there isn't. I guarantee there isn't. It doesn't work like that.
That's why I think there has to be something more to it.
Maybe.
Because if you're solely demoting him because he was out at a casino till 8 a.m., like, give me a break.
Yeah, there's worse things than that. By the way, if you look at his numbers, and they said it wasn't based on his numbers. First half, really good numbers. We talked about them. Second half numbers, look at this. They're awful.
Hold on.
His second half, he has fallen off a cliff in the second half.
You know what's really great about this new computer too?
Oh, it flies,
it's
right?
Very fast.
It's amazing what you can get for $5,000.
Yeah, exactly. So, dang it. So the past 3 games before he got demoted, he was 6 for his last 11.
6 for 11, but look at his second half. He was hitting 200. I looked it up.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, he was 6 for his last 11.
That's good.
So I mean, this year, John, he's got 31 stolen bases.
He's an all-star.
He's got 20 home runs. I mean, his OPS is only 747, but his WAR is 3.4. Like it's if you're looking for like a jump year, it's a decent year. I think you consider it to be pretty good.
Solid.
29 doubles, 6 triples, 20 home runs, 65 RBIs, 31 stolen bases. Even though the stolen base stat now is kind of irrelevant because of the rule change. And a 747 OPS.
It's been a good year. Again, is it ideal to be at a casino at 8 in the morning?
It's a career year for
not.
him. It's a career year.
But is that alone? My point is that alone a reason for a demotion?
It shouldn't.
How about just sit him for a day?
Yeah, it shouldn't be. And that's why I think there's something more there.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get to it.
$5,000 computer goes very fast. So what I was talking about last segment is, I don't know. I found this on TikTok and I was like, oh, that's like the other night. Me and Aaron were thinking about doing something and she's like, pick something.
You're not allowed to do something.
We can do things.
Are you?
Yeah.
Even with the wrap-up show?
Well, Saturday night, John.
Sit in your home.
Yeah, exactly. Just sit there and do nothing.
So you went out.
We went out, but we went out to a place called Imaginarium.
Yeah.
Which is it's like a pop-up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a light exhibit where they have over 1 million lights.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Where was this one? Because I've been to one in San Diego years ago with Kristen.
This is like right next to the border at the outlet malls.
So all the way south.
All the way south.
Yeah.
Luckily, it was like 10 minutes away from our house.
Right.
But it's called Imaginarium.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. I mean, some of the pictures, like opportunities you could take there.
Amazing, right?
Oh my gosh. Yep. It's like, whoa, like it's a really cool place. They have like a mini Cirque du Soleil like rope show every 20 minutes. They got food, they got popcorn, interactive stations. Like it's massive.
Right.
So go check that out.
That sounds cool.
If you want something to do, it's like $25 to get in. And I mean, if you live in North County, it's probably a little bit of a drive, but if you're down in the South Bay, like it's a 20-minute, 15-minute drive and you're there. So
$25, or as I like to say, 1% the cost of Jim's computer. It is.
I haven't even told Erin how much this thing costs.
She's going to kill you.
I know she will.
You're returning it.
Can we tape a reaction video?
She's like, what?
We did this in like 2019.
Yeah. See, that's
it's sweet.
It's kind of.
I mean, this is like years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, it's basically what it is.
Right.
It's really cool.
It's awesome.
7-Eleven has officially launched their new Coca-Cola / Oreo Slurpee.
Okay.
I saw the Coke Oreos the other day at Walmart.
Oh, did you?
7-Eleven has unveiled their new Slurpee flavor, Coca-Cola Oreo Zero Sugar. This unique blend is now available exclusively at 7-Eleven nationwide.
Okay. Pick those up.
There you go. Wendy's is going to release a special SpongeBob themed pineapple frosty. Sign me the
That sounds good.
up.
Didn't you do that one already?
Yeah, coming out this June.
I'm having
Maybe I
total
did. I think
deja
you did,
vu
yeah.
about the SpongeBob
And it sounded
pineapple
good
frosty.
then too.
I think I did.
So tell us more about it.
Well, if you heard it from me before again, just get ready to hear more about it right now. The Wendy's SpongeBob SquarePants 25th anniversary is a fun new twist on its classic Frosty, inspired by SpongeBob iconic Pineapple House. The new dessert features Wendy's signature vanilla Frosty swirled with a pineapple mango puree, delivering a refreshing tropical flavor experience. This collaboration with the beloved cartoon marks the first time Wendy's has offered a fruit-infused Frosty.
Can you imagine living in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants?
Right?
Did they have an orange frosty though not too long ago?
Maybe that's
the
what we're
orange
talking
creamsicle that they just did like over the summer.
Maybe.
But they claim they haven't done the fruit flavor.
It probably wasn't.
Yeah.
Who am I? There's probably no real fruit in that
Right,
anyway.
exactly.
And it's Crumbl Cookie Week, John.
Yes.
Every
New
week.
lineup for Crumbl cookies from today until the end of the week. Here we go. Milk chocolate chip, kind of standard. Confetti cake, brand new. Birthday cake featuring Oreos.
Okay.
Peanut butter featuring Snicker bars.
Okay.
Caramel shortbread featuring Twix bars. The original pink sugar cookie, which I heard is like fire. And then they are selling also a confetti celebration cake for $19.99.
Do you think the cake will just look like a cookie? Kind of like their cookies just look like
Probably.
big cakes. They're little cakes.
It's just a little cake. Like it literally is just like a cake stack.
Let me see that. Oh, this all look good.
Yeah, I would eat
all of them. Yeah.
I would eat all of them.
Pick them up on the way home.
Also, mini cookies are available all week long as well.
Do they come with a Mac Pro? Get some Crumbl.
Why did I get a MacBook
I
Pro?
have no idea. I was
Like
shocked.
deluxe
You got
version.
the Pros for people that are like hardcore animators. No idea to animate. I don't. You see, yeah.
Why did I spend that much money?
Because the store is beautiful and has beautiful things.
And the guy's like, "You got to buy this one," and I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay,
yeah, I have 10 grand.
I got swindled.
I should
Return
wear my
that thing.
T-shirt that's sucker on.
You haven't told Aaron?
I told her I got a new MacBook, but I didn't like tell her how much it was.
Like, hey, honey, we're gonna have to like move. That's true.
And obviously, she hasn't Googled how much the MacBook costs. But she didn't have to. You did what?
Sometimes more than you. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com. We're back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Mike Farron on the show, MLB Network Radio from Brett and Jim. I'm Jon Jim here, San Diego Sports 760. Okay.
Peace out, bye.